The views and opinions expressed by tonight's guest and topic of discussion do not necessarily represent the official policy or position of Spaced Out Radio, Spaced Out Weekend, Spaced Out Radio Limited, its hosts, syndicated carriers, or anyone associated with this broadcast. Any rebroadcast, reproduction, or other use of this broadcast or podcast without the express written consent of Spaced Out Radio or Spaced Out Radio Limited is strictly prohibited. Listener discretion is advised.
BUMBLEFOOT. BUMBLEFOOT.
Are you experienced?
Stop right there!
From high atop the mountains of British Columbia to you listening around the world, this is Spaced Out Radio with host Dave Scott.
They let us play with all our toys. They let us think that we're big boys. They let us make a lot of noise, but we ain't rule the world. They let us think we're Superman.
You can follow us on our website, spacedoutradio.com, on iTunes and TuneIn. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, on Facebook at Spaced Out Radio Show, or on our YouTube channel, Spaced Out Radio Show.
I try to act so cool, but you know I'm just a fool for you. For you. I will stop till I reach the top just to be there with you.
Dave, oh Dave, are you playing with Bigfoot and aliens again?
Dad, you gotta stop haunting the ghosts. It's scaring them.
Alright, seriously, put down the pointy sticks.
Oh, the deeper I fall.
Okay! Game on! Game on! Game on!
The password is...
Alright.
Buckle up, space travelers. It's time to go for a ride on Spaced Out Radio. Mr. Bumblefoot, Dave is ready for liftoff.
I try to act so cool, but you know I'm just a fool for you.
Seriously, Dave? Really? Aren't you a little old for a tinfoil hat?
Hello, Toby. Bye-bye. Love you. Bye-bye.
Please take your seat above us. We will be able to prepare for takeoff. Start. 2, 1. Boost ignition and liftoff.
I'm such a lucky guy, 'cause after all this time, it's like the deeper I go, the deeper I fall. The deeper I go, the deeper I fall.
Good evening and welcome to Spaced Out Radio. Tonight I am your host, Dave Scott, and it's great to have you along for the ride on this Wednesday, September 27th, Thursday, September 28th. If you're on the East Coast or across the pond, hope you had a great day and night. We are live right here in the Great White North, on top of the mountains of central British Columbia, as we are here 7 days a week. We welcome in everyone listening in on WQEE 99 Rock the Key down in Noonan, Georgia, home of The Walking Dead. We are live as well on the United Public Radio Network on 107.7 FM in New Orleans and over 160 countries around the world. We are also live on KTLK, The Fringe FM, Renegade Talk Radio out of Las Vegas. And if you're listening in on Revolution Radio, remember the Double R Machine is a donation station financed by you, the valued listener. Head on over to freedomslips.com and donate today. Like our music, get your horns up and rock with us. To Mr. Ron Bumblefoot THAL, formerly of Guns N' Roses, currently of Art of Anarchy and Sons of Apollo, Bumblefoot is the official music of SOR. You can also follow us on social media on Twitter, at Spaced Out Radio. Give our Facebook page a like, Spaced Out Radio Show. On Instagram, follow me at Dave Scott, SOR. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Spaced Out Radio Show. Listen to us on iHeartRadio in the United States. TalkStream Live. Tune us in on TuneIn. Download and subscribe to our shows on iTunes. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. Now, if you want to take part in this show, you got to do me a favor. You got to sign into one of the chat rooms, either on Revolution Radio, Spreaker, the UPRN chat room, or on Facebook at the SOR Space Travelers Club. Or if you're on Twitter, use the hashtag SpacedOutRadio. I will get to your questions and comments in there as well. Now, if you head to our website for $5 a month, you can become an SOR Space Traveler. You can also shop at our Spaced Out Radio store. Read the Encounter online, where my latest blog is hidden. You can also fill out an SOR Sightlines report if you've had an experience you can't explain. Tim Doyle from UFO Seekers and Leslie Mitchell Clark's Contact TV are also available for video viewing as well. Every 2 months, we bring in John Tenney, the self-professed paranormal weirdo, onto Spaced Out Radio to talk all things strange. However, due to a family emergency today, John had to cancel last minute, but he did say he wanted to apologize to all Spaced Out Radio listeners, and he will be back very, very soon, as this is one of his favorite shows to do, which I don't think it's too necessary for him to apologize, considering he's one of the top guests we have on the program. So I didn't find out until a couple hours before the show, mainly because I was out cutting down trees for winter firewood, and then going to check on my Sasquatch gifting site for the first time since my buddy Mark and I placed objects out there. We can get to that later in the show. So here I was, effectively scrambling and racking my brain as to what we were going to do for the show tonight, because after all, the show must go on. So I gave Joe Roop a ring from KTLK, the Fringe FM, to jump in on with me. He made sure his hair was looking good, so we're going to just banter and see where it goes. Sometimes these are the best shows. Fingers crossed. Don't forget, since our show is audience participation, we want to hear from you as well. What do you want us to discuss and get into? UFOs, aliens, ghosts, Bigfoot, conspiracies? Let's get into it all. You name the topic, we're going to talk about it. We got 3 hours to go here. Joe Roop from KTLK, the Fringe FM. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great, Dave. How are you doing?
You know what? I'm sad. I'm very, very sad.
I hate to hear that.
Yes. In case you haven't heard, the legend has passed on. Hugh Hefner died tonight at the age of 91.
That's terrible.
The founder
Love that man, too.
You know what? Can anybody say he's actually going to a better place? Let's be honest. He created paradise at the Playboy Mansion. Never had to get out of his silk pajamas. The ladies. The grotto. I actually have, to the right of me in my studio, from the Playboy Mansion, before they actually went in public sales, was a Playboy Mansion sugar-free energy drink. A friend of mine, very dear friend of mine, she used to be a hostess at the Playboy Mansion. I'm sad because I think as a man, for the last 50, 60 years, we all grew up with Playboy. You know,
most definitely. Yeah.
Do you remember when you saw your first Playboy?
Yeah, but I don't actually think it was a Playboy. I was actually relieved though when I did see my first Playboy, but I don't remember who was in it. But the thing about Playboy with me is the cool thing is Playboy had it to where you could actually, see a celebrity that you've always wondered about, and only Hugh Hefner and that group could pull that stuff off. It is really sad. The more I think about it, man, I am getting pretty sad about it.
It is sad because I saw my first Playboy at 5 years old. I know that's way too young, but as kids, when you're over at a friend's house and you're snooping around and you're playing hide and go seek, and all of a sudden it was like, hey, what's this?
Yeah.
Why are there no clothes on these girls? I've never been a subscriber or anything like that, but I have a couple of issues. I think every man does. It's just sad. It's just sad because, he founded Playboy in 1953. Marilyn Monroe was the first cover girl of Playboy.
You got to give him props for that.
Yeah, absolutely. But Playboy did so much. So much. You think of the people who were on that magazine. They would never do porn mags, but they wanted to do the eloquency and the beauty of Playboy. You think of, Pamela Anderson, Sharon Stone, Naomi Campbell, Cindy Crawford, Kim Basinger, Madonna.
Yeah, buddy.
There were so many beautiful women. So many beautiful women. And
this guy had to be living his life right, Dave. He's 91. He died at 91. That's a good, long life. So we should all take a page out of his book and look how happy he was.
Dude, I understand that fully. He gave every man the dream that if you put your mind to it, anything is possible. He wanted to bring beauty and journalism together, and that's exactly what he did with Playboy.
Yes, he did, indeed.
From starting in Chicago to moving out to the L.A., California area to set up the Playboy Mansion, where only certain people got a key.
Did that just happen just like now, or was it this morning? Or?
I found out about it about 15 minutes before showtime.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw you drop that in the chat, on LTV. I was like, I didn't even know how to bring it on the show, but I'm glad we're talking about it now because that dude was my hero. I think he was every man's hero. I really do. He was an icon. And like I said, he let everybody be what they wanted. He lived the life that every man dreamed of. Beautiful women, beautiful cars, never getting out of your pajamas, watching football on Sundays, having a beautiful home with a beautiful yard and wild animals running all around. And, of course, what happens in the grotto stays in the grotto. I always wanted to go to that mansion. I don't know. I wanted to meet the man, shake his hand, but that's not going to happen.
Absolutely. Not going to happen. But you cannot say, and I mean this seriously, even though I'm laughing. How could you say that he's off to a better place? When they're looking at the celebration of life for Hugh Hefner, how do they look down in the coffin and say, "Oh, he's off to a better place"? He had it here, man. He built his dream and became a billionaire of it. There is no bloody way possible you could say that he is off to a better place. It's impossible.
Dawn put in the chat room, she says, "Oh, great, Dave is going to want a higher class of groupies now."
No, I wouldn't trade my fans, my listeners, for anything. You know that.
That's funny, Dawn.
You know that. I absolutely love them. Absolutely love them. But this is a sad day because, half opened our eyes to a lot of things. He was the man who really, in a time where women would go to the beach and have their swimsuits measured to make sure they were of legal length above the knee, he was the guy who said, hell with it, let's celebrate women. Let's celebrate the beauty that women have. Because women are beautiful.
Yeah, he did it right. He
Absolutely
really did.
He did. And you can't blame him for his last 20 years or so of the blonde ambition.
No. No. So, not to get off subject here, but I am curious how the Paracon went.
Wow, that's way off topic.
I haven't even talked to anybody about it because I've been so busy. I'm definitely curious about that.
Well, the Paracon went great. The Friday night, I'm not going to lie, I got into a little bit of Fireball.
Right on.
And
that's the good stuff.
Yeah. I hadn't eaten that day very much, So you can imagine how quickly it took effect. And we were hanging out at the pub called The Hub, which was very haunted. And we were kind of doing an impromptu, real lackadaisical ghost hunting effort because there were a lot of people there I've talked to on the show many a times, and I have never met face to face. Our Keith Andrews, Paisley Town, Elizabeth Anglin. You know, it was fantastic to be able to meet them. And I went down with a couple members of my team, Carrie Mingo and Corey Greaves. And we got there. We had a good time. We all sat around. Everybody had a few drinks on the Friday night. And, you know, for some of us, it continued back at the hotel afterwards. And then on the Saturday morning, we all got there, all ready to go. But I'll tell you, man, Paracons are a long day. They're a long push. It doesn't matter if you're speaking like I spoke last. And we had a number of people walking through the doors all throughout the day. And it was fantastic. Mike Morin from Haunted Crew of Canada gave a great presentation on the paranormal. And then later on in the day, he actually took a bunch of people out to show them how to use the gear properly. We also had Elizabeth had to step in for Christina George, because Christina George was, you know, the day before she was supposed to drive up from California, she got word from her doctor that she needs to go in for surgery next week. And he said, yeah, traveling's probably not a good idea right now. So she had to back out immediately, but Elizabeth Anglin did a marvelous job off the top of her head talking about psychic ability, and then having a big group get together on how to get in touch with your own abilities, and a lot of people took part in that. It was fantastic. Eric Cooper, I cannot say enough good things about him. Eric Cooper is a class guy. And, you know, him and Izzy, the first night we were there, we went over to his house. He had a barbecue going for us, him and Corey Rees, and they were, you know, barbecuing hamburgers, and, you know, they had cold drinks waiting for us all to show up, and it was fantastic. And Coop is I'll tell you, the guy does things right. And I cannot speak highly enough of him and Izzy and Corey for the job that they did in putting on just a fantastic weekend. But I'll tell you, there was a sad part to it, Joe.
What's that?
This coming weekend was supposed to be the first annual Caribou Paracon that Space Out Radio was putting on in my area. And I'll tell you, it was tough because, you know, we had planned for so long, pretty much since January, that we were going to go on the back end of Cooper's Paracon, so that way all the speakers and anybody who wanted to come up from his could come up to ours. And then because of the forest fires, we had to cancel ours. So it was it was sad. It was sad that we had to do that, but, you know, unfortunately, that's just the way it went. You know, it would have been nice to do a double shot, back-to-back Paracons, but unfortunately, can't do it this year. We're going to try for next year and get everything organized, and when we do, you know, we're going to make it off and running and try to make it as great as possibly can.
Well, I'm going to try to make it up there next time it happens. It's a long trip for me from down south, but I think it might be worth it to go meet everybody, because that's when you're on the radio and you're just hearing people's voices night after night. It's really fun. It's really cool. But to actually get to meet the people, that's something that I look forward to as well.
You know what? I would love to do more. I really would love to do more Paracons. It's a tough push. You know, it makes for a really long day, but, you know, it's so worth it, you know, to be able to meet people and to be able to shake hands. The one thing that I love is a lot of the listeners that come through, I've never met before. And, you know, to have someone come up and they're like, Dave Scott? I'm like, yeah, and you are? And then they tell me, and it's Karen or Venny or Joyce or Tracy or whoever it was, you know, coming up, Teresa coming up and just saying, hey, we're here. We're here to check it out and be a part of it because, we love Spaced Out Radio. We love Eric Cooper and Forest Moon Paranormal. So in order to grasp all of it, it's something that, it's kind of surreal that people who are listening to you, because I only see the names. I mean, much like you, Joe. When you're in your chat room, you only see the names.
I do wonder about them sometimes, I try to get involved as much as I can on Facebook and stuff, but there's nothing like meeting someone in person and getting to hang out with them.
Absolutely. You just, the only hard part is you hope that they don't come to the public places, or to the places where you're getting absolutely cracked. You don't want that. You don't want that at all. But
well, did that happen, Dave?
No.
Did you get smashed?
No comment.
Did you guys say plethora as much as you possibly could?
We
and
said
all drink together.
We said plethora as much as we possibly could.
Right on. That sounds like fun.
Absolutely. But next year we want to definitely get the Spaced Out Radio Caribou Paracon going, and we're going to make sure that everything goes as planned, and hopefully Mother Nature, cooperates next summer and doesn't decide to try and burn our town down again.
Yeah, we don't have to deal with that. I can't imagine the forest fire thing. Does that happen to you guys like every year?
No.
It was really bad.
First time in like 30, 35 years in this area that we got hit. So way before I even knew where this town was.
And that was in Concrete, Washington. Is that where y'all are going to have it again when you do it again?
Well, the Forest Moon will be in Concrete, and then ours will be up here in British Columbia. So you're going to have to take a week off. But the beautiful part about it is, Joe Roop, you bring your computers. We could hook you up so you can do your shows from here, too.
Oh, yeah, that'd be great. That would be cool.
Absolutely.
Did Joe Monk show up? I'm just curious.
No, but I will tell his little Joe Monk story. He's a very happy man right now. He's a very happy man because he kept bugging me, wondering what kokanee beer is. It's a great British Columbia beer, but you have to have it ice cold. And then when you get it ice cold in the cans, you have to find the Sasquatch on the cans. Right?
Okay.
So I surprised Joe because Elizabeth and Eric Markham, the preacher, had driven up for the Paracon. And they said they were going past Joe's place after the Paracon. So I ended up throwing in 24 cans of kokanee beer into the back of the preacher's Jeep. And, excuse me. And so last night, Joe got into the kokanee, and he's a fan now. He's an absolute fan.
Yeah, he's showing it right now in the chat room. That's cool.
Absolutely.
See, I'm jealous. I should have hopped on a plane or something and got up there. I'm going next time.
Well, you should.
I'm going to make it a point to go.
You should. In the Spaced Out Radio SOR Space Travelers Club on Facebook. Hello, Lisa. Hello, Michael. Hello, beautiful Claudia. And the beautiful Lisa. Hi, Joyce. Joyce was at the Paracon, too. And that's the second year that I've got to meet her. So I absolutely love meeting the fans, man. Trip is saying in the Spreaker chat room, Dave's a smuggler. No, I got them at the duty-free store, so I was able to get them across the border very easily. Very easily. Don, I still don't like kokanee. You don't know what's good for you. You're from Alberta. You guys can barely drive.
Well, dude, I still feel heaviness on my chest about Hugh. Even though I tried to get off that subject a little bit, I still feel heaviness about it, like in my chest.
I feel like we should break into song or something,
Yeah, or something. Well, yeah, definitely. It's going to be all over the freaking news tomorrow. You know it, though.
Well, I'm sure it's all over the news right now with the way the way social media was. Trip is saying, alcohol isn't supposed to be taken across the border. Yes, that's why they have the duty free. You just show them the receipt. You are allowed a limit. That's why we bring the Canadian beer down, so you Americans can actually get something good to taste and drink for cheap.
Man, I heard the Canadian Border Patrol is like hardcore. I mean, that's just what I'm hearing, but rumors. Maybe you can validate that or not validate it.
You know what? That's actually a good topic, because in order to understand the Canadian border, you have to understand what happened a couple of years after 9/11. And a couple of years after 9/11, there was this lady, part of the NSA, I think. I forget her name. She came out and made a statement which was backed by illustrious Senator John McCain, which basically said that the 9/11 terrorists came through Canada into the United States. And that's how they were able to get in to the U.S. to do what they did on that horrific day. So I started thinking, much like a lot of other Canadians, when you cross the Canada-U.S. border, the 49th parallel, last time I checked, I had to cross through an American border crossing. So therefore, it wasn't the Canadians who let them into the United States. It was the American border who let them into the United States. However,
now that I can believe.
However, that story proved to be false, because the terrorists had flown into the United States from the Middle East or from Europe. So we got blamed for anything, and then all of a sudden they cranked it up. We need Canadians to use their passports to get across the border because we can't have any more 9/11 scenarios with terrorists crossing our border, even though a terrorist has never been caught crossing the border. Right?
Yeah, man. I mean, I've heard from friends of mine and even on the other podcasts that people have tried to cross into Canada. I mean, even if they got the slightest record here in the U.S., that they are
absolutely
grilled, you know.
Chelsea Manning just got rejected from entering Canada because of her criminal record. But here's the thing that you need to understand. We're easy, lackadaisical people. Okay? It's like a hockey fight, man. We don't pick the fight. We just, for every action, there's a reaction. So what happened here was, we started saying, what are you doing? What are you doing? What did we do so bad, to all of a sudden have to go out and get passports in order to cross the largest unprotected border in the world? You got one country above you. One.
I get that, yeah.
When's the last time we pissed you guys off? You know what I'm saying? Besides on wood tariffs or something along those lines, or creating Hollywood North. But
what's the name of... Go ahead, I'm sorry.
But let me just finish. So what we had to do was they made us go get passports. So the Canadian government, under our then Prime Minister, Stephen Harper, basically said, screw this. You want to come to Canada now? We need a passport. And Washington, D.C. all of a sudden jumped back. Hey, Canada, whoa, what are you doing? What are you doing? And our government said, you just did it to us. Well, we had to because of 9/11. Yeah, but the terrorists didn't come through Canada. Well, the NSA now says that we have to. The CIA says we have to. The border agencies say we have to tighten up the Canadian border. So we said, great, not a problem. You need passports to get up here. And they were like, what? No, you can't do that. Watch us. So we did. And it's funny how many Americans, because when you come into British Columbia, that's the only way to drive to Alaska is through British Columbia. It's amazing how many Americans get their guns confiscated at the border. trying to go hunting up in Alaska. They forget.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah, but that happens a lot.
It does. It does. So what you have to do, if you're traveling to Alaska through British Columbia or any other part of Canada, okay, when you get to the border town that you're about to cross, ship your guns to Alaska. You can't bring them across. That's one of the things that are kind of frowned upon on this side of the border.
Noted. You Canadians are definitely known for, I mean, there's all kinds of toughness out there in the world, right? But there is a special type of toughness in Canada. I mean, if you look at, even in the military, the Joint Task Force 2, you don't see that how much butt they kick. That is probably I would say in the top 5 of special force groups out there in the world. That's probably one of the baddest out there.
Well, the one thing that we can say is, we may not have the strongest military, and trust me, I've seen our military equipment. It is old, it is decrepit, and that's just our Army vehicles that some of them have been in service for 50 plus years. Okay, we don't take care of our troops well enough with the gear that they need and update it. But the one thing that we do very, very quietly, and if most Canadians knew about this, they would probably say, "Oh, not us. We're too peace-loving to do that." But every time the U.S. gets into a conflict, the first people they call is our special forces, because we do have the best snipers in the world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And our boys are known to kill. And they get the job done. Just like your soldiers, man.
Videos.
Just like your soldiers, man. They kick ass. They don't worry about taking names. They don't have to. Hearts out to all the soldiers and veterans out there. Big, big fan of yours. I actually had the pleasure of meeting a nurse at the Paracon, and be damned if I didn't catch her name. She spoke so fast. But she was actually a Vietnam nurse, military nurse, helping the soldiers cross over. And she actually, she was from Hawaii, and she had, a lot of stories that she wished she had time. She said she wished she had time to tell. But it was over in Vietnam where she actually started, opening up from a science-based mind, because that's what she went to school for, was to become a nurse, to opening up more spiritually as well.
Oh, cool. That's cool.
So it's something that I wish I would have got a little bit more time with. But
yeah, you meet those people at those conferences. When we went to the Ozark conference, we had so many people come up to the Fringe FM booth and were telling us these stories, and I couldn't believe this many people had paranormal experiences in my state, because I'm always complaining about it. No one understands me, whatever. When you go to a paranormal conference, you meet all these people, and I'm like, please give me your name and number. I want to talk to you, put you on the show, but you don't have enough time to talk to everybody. Yeah, I know what you're talking about there.
You know what? I used to work with a guy. His name was John. It was my first radio gig, and John was about 57, 58 at the time. Really didn't need the money. He was just doing something to keep busy in retirement. He was one of our salespeople. And both his sons were in the Canadian Armed Forces. And one of his sons was a sniper. And he would tell us stories, because I'm a big military buff. I've always been a huge fan of anybody who serves in the military. And he would tell us stories when we'd be out, just sitting around having a coffee or whatever, and just start talking Army. I'd say, "Where's your boy?" And he'd be like, "Hell if I know." I'm like, "Really?" He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "That's the life of being a parent of a sniper." He goes, all we'll get is a phone call, sometimes in the dead of the middle of the night, and he'll say, "Dad, I'm going. I can't tell you where I'm going. Can't tell you when I'm going to be back. Just telling you I'm leaving the country right now." And that was the extent of the conversation. Then about, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks later, you get a phone call. "Hey, Dad, I'm back." "Oh, where'd you go?" "Can't tell you." "What'd you do?" "Can't tell you." Right? Very interesting.
That guy was doing some special forces work for sure. They can't tell their family, that they get the high level clearance. But you do wonder if they ever get to work and things like, Area 51 and stuff. They're not going to tell you because they've moved up in trust so much. We get a lot of people say, "Oh, there's no way there's secret stuff going on," because not that many people can keep a secret. Well, if they're military and they've proven themselves that way, they definitely can keep a secret. They don't even tell their wives. I mean, I know it happens.
I agree. It's funny. Muji Boy at #SpaceOutRadio on Twitter says, in Afghanistan, the Americans and others like to hang out at the Canadian base because we had Tim Hortons and a hockey rink. I can actually verify that because my good buddy Trevor, who spent 6-7 months in Afghanistan on a Leopard tank, he would tell us the exact same things. He goes, our bases were always infiltrated with the Americans and the Brits because they wanted to get to our coffee. He goes, you wouldn't believe the lineups at the Tim Hortons in Afghanistan, in Kandahar. I think that's hilarious.
That is funny.
All comes down to Tim Hortons, man. If you haven't experienced Tim Hortons, you don't know what you're doing. Hi, Bob, in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Bob is our great voice who introduces me each show. I think he's one of the best out there.
Yeah, he's definitely got a good voice.
He's got one of the most biggest power beards as well. Very nice power beard.
What is this fascination with hair and beards, man? I really want to know.
Why not?
I mean, is it a paranormal thing or is it a Dave thing or what's the deal?
No, man.
What's going on here? What's the score?
Nothing, man. Why can't you have respect for good hair and a quality beard?
Are you losing your hair, Dave?
No, if you saw me, there is not a single piece of male pattern baldness on me. I'm actually growing it out for the first time.
Oh, yeah, I did see a picture of you on Facebook, man. Yeah, you do got a wonderful set of hair.
I do.
I do. You do.
I got that silver fox look going on. I actually went to color it because, I was turning gray at 30 years old. And, oh, by the way, Joe says the main waves, Roop.
Okay.
So, I was going gray at 30 years old, and, when I hit 40, the lady who used to cut my hair, Lindsay, very beautiful friend of mine, I said, I want you to color my hair back to its natural color. I'm getting sick and tired of being the gray-haired guy. And she was like, no. I absolutely refuse. And I said, well, I'm the client. She goes, get out of my chair. She goes, you have that silver color that every woman loves. And that was enough for me right there.
Yeah.
Don is saying in the chat room, Dave loves hairbands as well. Absolutely. Absolutely. Music hasn't been the same since grunge killed the hairband. Unless you go with Steel Panther, who's trying to bring it back. And they do a good job. They do a very good job. So tonight, John Tenney was supposed to be with us. Unfortunately, a few hours before showtime, he had a family emergency. And I didn't get his message until a couple hours before showtime because I was out all day. I was out cutting down trees, doing the manly Canadian fall thing, even though it's not fall, it's still summer.
Right.
And then after that, I met up with Mark Spender, who's in the chat room right now on Spreaker, and him and I went and checked our Sasquatch gifting site, which we can get into.
Oh, that sounds cool.
Yeah. So we did that. And we were able to, have a good day. I got home at 5:30 or 6 o'clock because Mrs. SOR made me go get dog food. Then I had to unload the wood. So, get that done. And I'm tired, man. I'm beat. So I call up John. John, you ready for tonight's show? He goes, didn't you get my message on Twitter? I'm like, no. He goes, dude, I can't. He goes, I apologize. He goes, you know how much I love doing your show, and I love interacting with your fans. And I'm like, yeah, I know. I said, not a problem, John. He was very apologetic, but you know what? When a family emergency comes up, you just cannot make things happen. That's not fair. So I'm jumping around thinking, what the hell do I do? Who do I call? First guy on my mind, Joe Roop, KTLK, The Fringe FM. Great hair, very styled and perfectly brill creamed.
It doesn't go through the radio much, though. I'm almost gun shy to talk on your show now because I said a few wrong words.
No, you just gotta let it flow, man. You gotta let it flow and be honest, be fun with it. That's what you gotta do. You just gotta let it out. Be a part of the hair. Just let it flow. Be a part of
the hair. Be one with the hair.
Absolutely.
Well, I was wanting to ask your audience because you have a lot of people that keep eyes on the sky, And I tell the story a lot on my show at Lighting the Void, and I was wondering if anybody, one day I went out and I was working construction on a house, and I was listening to some, let's just say, esoteric material, and I walked outside because I felt like I needed to walk outside, and I looked up at the center point, and it was close to the middle of the sky, the center of the sky, and I told Jeremy Scott about this, so I'll tell you, and maybe I can get some answers on this, that I saw the star that was looking at me that seemed to be very bright, that I've never seen before, and usually you see that in the east or something, and I kept looking at it, and it seemed as if it was just looking at me, almost like it was spotlighting me. And I'm telling myself, yeah, this is all in my head. This thing's not looking at me or whatever. And as soon as I started having those thoughts, it wheeled around like a spotlight. Like you could see that, like it almost phased to the right and then dimmed out and disappeared. And ever since I've had that thing happen to me, that actually initiated my hunt for UFOs when I started getting interested in that besides the esoteric. Ever since that happened to me, only one person has ever said that they saw something like that. They may see him move around, but not phase and then go out. And there was no clouds in the sky. There was nothing there. It wasn't like an illusion or anything. So I'm wondering if anybody in the audience could maybe have some answers, or maybe anybody that's ever had that, or something close to that type of experience.
Okay, describe it once again, what you saw, just as a bright star that seemed to be not moving?
Yeah, well, Jeff Gilson, who's in the chat room, can attest to this. That house was actually haunted, he believes, and I'll tell you his story too, but I was listening to the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, which is esoteric material about the ancient Egyptians and yada, 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 and I listened to it over and over again. I felt like I needed to go outside. I went outside. It was like, Jeff can tell you this, I was working on this house till 1, 2 in the morning trying to get it done for him, and I looked in the sky and I saw a star, what I thought was a star, but it was bright enough. It was as bright as a spotlight, and it appeared to be shining at me and only me. And I asked myself, I said, is this thing looking at me? And as soon as I had those types of thoughts, it phased around and disappeared. Like you could actually see it phase around, like if a cop was shining a spotlight at you. And you know how when they turn their spotlight, it shines the other way? And from you to something else, that's what it looked like. And then the star dissipated. And I called Jeff Gilson, who's in the chat room right now, and I told him about it. And he said that there were drawers opening up in that house on there by themselves too. And this guy he's not into paranormal that much. And he's not going to lie to me about it. So I'm just wondering if anybody's ever had that kind of experience,
I
the same kind of experience I had.
I have not, but you know what? Eric Markham, if he wasn't traveling, I would have him on here to tell the story of the time where we had James Fetzer on. I think it was last October, so it'll be a year. And after the show, Preacher and I are on the phone. And it was just a weird, strange night. Fetzer had got cut off a couple of times. Like, literally, his Skype got shut down on his computer. Had to recall him in from his cell phone because his home line wasn't working either. It was just weird. And so after the show, I'm outside, and it's a beautiful starry night. And, I see this flash in the sky. And I went, oh, hello. Because I look for those flashes in the sky. It's a couple hours after sundown, so it's not going to be sun reflection.
Right.
And I said, can you flash again? Boom, flashes again. So wonderful. Can you flash again for me, please? Flashes again. And preacher's like, what the hell is going on? I said, preacher, watch this. I said, listen to this. I said, can you head over to my house, please? And this thing's probably, 40, 50 miles away. Because up here you get to see for a while. And it flashes. I said, are you coming over? It flashes. I said, okay, flash for me and let me know that you're coming. Doesn't flash. I said, where are you? I need you to flash. Are you coming over my house? It flashes again, dude, and it's closer. I said, are you coming over my house? Flashes again.
Are you saying this out loud or just like in your
Yes.
mind?
No, I'm saying it out loud so the preacher can hear me. Right? On the 19th flash, dude, that thing was right over top of my house.
Whoa.
And then it flashed 2 more times like it was saying goodbye. It didn't flash again as it continued going southwest. That was
there's
amazing.
people. Yeah, and I wonder what that. See, there's people in the chat room asking. Like Tammy says, she's seen it once, and Beyond the Omniverse is wondering where it was located. When I looked up, it was probably, I don't remember if it was south or northwest, but it was close to the middle of the sky. It wasn't on the edges of the sky. It was close to the middle. I would say probably southwest middle of the sky, I guess. And that's kind of hard because I'm not really an astronomer. I'm in Arkansas when I saw it, so I really couldn't tell you where it was. But apparently other people have had that same experience.
That is a trippy experience, man. Trippy experience.
Well, good. I'm glad I'm not going out of my mind or anything, because it seems like I keep repeating myself telling the story, but we talk about more esoteric things and people are like, no, I never saw that. But the next day, Jeff told me that in that house we were working construction on in that house, that there were the doors, the drawers in the kitchen were slamming open and slamming shut.
Wow.
Yeah. So I
upset there was no foods and probably upset there was no food in the cupboards.
Yeah, probably. You're probably right about that. But yeah, man, I've got an official paranormal UFO experience. A UFO is an unidentified flying object. Was this thing flying around? No, it stayed in one spot, but it's still a UFO.
That is strange. I love good UFO stories, man. Like last night, we had Olaf Phillips on the air talking about the secret space program. And I could literally, I was actually thinking about calling Olaf up tonight, going back to back on it, because that's just a subject that me personally, I just cannot get enough of, is a secret space program. And, when we were chatting last night, we were talking about, the last time I had him on the air previous to last night, I took him outside with me, and both my vehicles, I have a Jeep Grand Cherokee and a GMC Sierra 1500, and they were parked down below on my lower end of my driveway, and there was something going in between them. It was walking in between them, and I actually walked over there. I said, Olaf, you're coming with me, man, even though he's on the phone. And I walked over to the vehicles expecting to see something, man, and there was nothing there. And that's when the clicking sound started. That was trippy.
That's wild.
Hearing that clicking sound. That still gives me goosebumps. But it's like today. So Mark and I go out to the gifting site where 2 weeks ago, we placed a bunch of Hot Wheels cars and a couple of Slinkies that we put some, glass rocks on the ground. Those type of rocks that you put in the bottom of they're all colored, and you put them in the bottom of like vases and stuff, and put, women always put their fake flowers in there. You know the ones I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, so we're out there, and we are checking things out. And before I always go into the forest, I have a little ritual that I do because, I'm a spiritual guy that way. And, I kind of announce that we're here. Mark is my hunter. I don't have a gun. So Mark comes in fully armed, he's got his bazooka and, his, fully automatic AR-15. And, I think he's even got a rocket launcher or something.
Wow, dude's a gung-ho.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's my local Rambo. And I'm sure if he's listening right now and not in bed, he's probably killing himself laughing right now thinking about that. But, the whole point is, we are hanging out, and we get out of the vehicle. I give my little speech that we're here to see, the Sasquatch gifting site, asking all the other animals out there to back away. Not like I know they can understand English, but, just so they can hear me and, back on in. So we get out of the vehicle, and all of a sudden, I'm like, my arms, dude, like it's 75 degrees outside here. That's warm at this time of year up here, okay? My arms are like completely goosebumped. I said to Mark, hey, check this out, man. Totally feels like we're being watched. And all of a sudden he felt heavy. Like his chest felt heavy. And then he kept on walking, and then all of a sudden he's like, oh, it's gone. And then he walked back, and he's like, man, I feel heavy again. Like something was pressuring him. So I did a quick grounding on him and me and, his wife, his daughter, and my family as well. I said, do you feel any different? And he's like, no, man, still feels heavy. So I put my hand on his shoulder, total Benny Hinn, and I said, leave him alone now. And
I told Benny Hinn.
And all of a sudden he felt better. Total Benny Hinned it, man. Total Benny Hinned it. Right?
Man, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So we go into the forest, and we go into the gifting site, and unfortunately, nothing has moved on the branches that we put up there. But on the ground, a couple of the rocks had moved that we put down. And I'm thinking it was squirrels or chipmunks, personally.
Do you guys have raccoons up there?
No, we don't get raccoons up here.
Okay, because that's what I was thinking.
No footprints. But, dude, it was weird, man. We were getting sounds to the left and to the right of us, and it was totally felt like we were being watched. At one point, there was a couple of thuds, and Mark raised up the bazooka.
It's gonna take some chipmunks out, wasn't he?
No, the chipmunks actually. Here's a funny part. Here's the funny part of this, right? So this one chipmunk is going crazy because the one thing Mark has taught me, chipmunks are squirrels, pardon me. The one thing Mark has taught me is that the squirrels, they will tip off the other animals to where you are. But way in the distance, probably 100 feet away, maybe 150 feet away from us, way out of the range of this chipmunk going crazy, tipping them off where we were, this chipmunk was tipping us off to something. So I all of a sudden said, and I'm looking in that area because I when your eyes are just drawn to an area, well, that's the area where I was looking when this chipmunk goes off. And I said, come on, guys, give me a sign that you're here. And all of a sudden, as soon as I said that, boom, the chipmunk goes off again from that same area.
Dude, you're talking to the animals in Canada, Dave.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
That's wild.
Yeah. So it felt like, and we just sat there, man. So when Mark heard the first thump, he quickly, very loudly loaded his gun. He got his RPG, loaded it up into the rocket launcher. I think he may
sounds like the guy.
I think he may have called Sasquatch Jihad too, at the time.
Just can't wait to kill something.
No,
no,
he's pretty good. But when I started getting picked up, because it was just an odd feeling, we knew we were being watched. We knew that there was something on either side of us watching us, and we just couldn't see it. So we just stood there. We stood our ground for about 5-10 minutes, We stood our ground for about 5-10 minutes, just kind of letting them know that we were there. Because the one thing I learned from Edie Kaito, who has a gifting place in Indiana, she's been a guest on this show numerous times, is stick around there. Let them see you, let them smell you, let them get used to your vehicle, the sound of your vehicle and all that kind of stuff. And so that's what we did. We just stood there. And just let them, if they were watching us, and I can't guarantee that they were or not, it was just a feeling I had, that way they could, that's me coughing. Maybe.
So I'm thinking, you got some kind of way to talk to this stuff. I mean, if you're talking to these things that are flashing over your house and you're talking to the animals, if this ever happens to me again, when I see that thing in the sky, I'm definitely going to try that. I'm going to see if I can get it to hang around, because it seemed like when I doubted its presence, that's when it disappeared.
Absolutely. Just so you know, Dawn in our chat room is looking out her window, and she has a UFO out her window right now.
Oh, take a picture.
Well, we're going to have to see. Hey, we're going to have to go to break here. That's hour number 1 in the books. We're talking anything you guys want to talk about. Bring on the topics. Joe and I will get into it. Joe Roop from KTLK, The Fringe FM. We're having a good time here on Spaced Out Radio. We're going to get more into the gifting site. We're going to get more into Sasquatch. We're going to get more into UFOs. We're going to see where this goes, because that's what we do around here. Tomorrow night on the program, J.R. Watts, we're going to talk about the Shroud of Turin. We'll get more into that later on. You're listening to Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott. We'll be back with more Joe Roop. Topics du jour. What's on your mind? Rest in peace, Hugh Hefner. Passed away today at the age of 91. We will talk to you right after the break.
365 days a year, we're in the field, investigating UFO sightings, talking to alien abductees, and visiting secret military locations like Area 51. We're UFO Seekers, official partner of Spaced Out Radio. Follow our daily search for the truth at ufoseekers.com or like us on social media. Catch us on Spaced Out Radio every third Monday of the month as we discuss Area 51, UFOs, and more. And also, don't forget to subscribe to us on YouTube.
From coast to coast to coast, Blacklight Uncharted is taking on the paranormal across Canada. From ghostly hauntings to the UFOs flying above in conjunction with MUFON Canada, we're closely investigating what's going on in the northern skies and checking out the apparitions that walk among us. Check out our videos right here at spacedoutradio.com. We want to know your thoughts, we want to hear your experiences, and we want you to share your stories. The answers are out there, and we intend to find them.
Would you like to become one of our space travelers? All you have to do is click on the Space Travelers icon at spacedoutradio.com. For only $5 a month, you can get access to some great prizes, as well as private monthly shows, newsletters, and a members-only section on our website. Become a space traveler today.
It's paranormal news at its finest. Welcome to The Encounter. At spacedoutradio.com, The Encounter online is SOR's trusted news source for everything weird and strange going on around the world. This is news editor Eric Markham. Our team of journalists are scouring the planet for those strange stories that rarely make the mainstream. No fear-mongering or fake news here. Head over to spacedoutradio.com and encounter The Encounter.
Want to learn more about aliens, cover-ups, conspiracies, cryptids, and the paranormal? All you have to do is tune in S4 as we take over Spaced Out Radio Night, starting at midnight Pacific, 3 a.m. Eastern, each and every Saturday night, right after Spaced Out Saturdays. Hi there, this is Eric Cooper from Forest Moon Paranormal. Join me, Corey Ruiz, and friends as we discuss the hot topics of the night. It's fun, entertaining, and as dark as the night. Find us at spacedoutradio.com.
Hey, this is Canadian Paranormal Investigator Mike Moore. The third Wednesday of every month, I'll be teaming up with Dave Scott to bring you Ghosts of the Great White North. Each month, we will bring on guests from across Canada to discuss their ghostly encounters. Canada's a paranormal hotbed with stories you've never heard, so we're going to bring them to you. So get comfy on your Chesterfield, grab a donut, and join us, eh?
Are you an experiencer? Have you had run-ins with strange creatures you can't explain? ETs, Dogman, Bigfoot, werewolves? They're enough to scare the daylights out of anyone. Hi there, I'm Butch Witkowski from Euphoria Cop. And on the last Monday of every month, you can listen to me and the host, Dave Scott, talk about the weird and the strange being reported on Spaced Out Radio. I'm going to bring my investigations and sources, you bring your experiences, and we'll figure out the rest together. Strange Days on Spaced Out Radio. Come tune us in at spacedoutradio.com.
Want a place to share your experiences without feeling judged? We have the place for you. If you've experienced sightings or contact with ETs, ghosts, cryptids, or UFOs, and you'd like someone to confidentially look into the matter, just fill out an SOR Sightlines report. Our goal is to help you get the answers you need to the experiences you've had with our professional team of researchers. Your information stays 100% confidential. The SOR Sightlines report. Fill out your experience today only at spacedoutradio.com.
Psychic Sundays, spiritual communication, ET contact, Sasquatch in your backyard. We will have it all on Cosmic Passport with me, Elizabeth Anglin. Each Sunday, starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, at spacedoutradio.com, I will take you on a journey of enlightenment. The goal is learning from the soul on out. We'd love it if you joined our experience. Cosmic Passport, heard Sundays at spacedoutradio.com.
Are you interested in advertising on Spaced Out Radio? Head to our website at spacedoutradio.com and click on our advertising tab. There, you will find an assortment of ways you can get your product out there with us, from radio commercials to banners and social media. Have a product you like our hosts to endorse? We can do that too. Visit spacedoutradio.com for more details.
From British Columbia to Northern California, Pacific North Weird has Cascadia covered. Check out our feature videos at spacedoutradio.com, where I, Vincent Zunza, and my super sleuth partner Alexandra Sullivan track down the weird and strange stories from around the Pacific Northwest, from Bigfoot to Mel's Hole and everything in between. This is what makes life exciting. So why report the normal when we can report the Pacific North Weird? Right here at spacedoutradio.com.
Don't have time to listen to Spaced Out Radio live? Wherever you are, the car, the office, the shower, or even if you're traveling, we're right here for you. Each Spaced Out Radio show can be found on iTunes, TuneIn, and on our YouTube channel, Spaced Out Radio Show. It's the perfect way for you to catch up on our shows. For more information, just head over to our website, spacedoutradio.com, and tune in to us today.
Welcome to Spaced Out Saturdays with me, Dave Cruz from Beyond the Strange. Our weekly feature on spacedoutradio.com will take you around the world discussing everything from the paranormal to the latest conspiracies from the top guests in their fields. We won't leave any story uncovered. Spaced Out Saturdays at spacedoutradio.com starting 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern.
The views and opinions expressed by tonight's guest and topic of discussion do not necessarily represent the official policy or position of Spaced Out Radio, Spaced Out Weekend, Spaced Out Radio Limited, its hosts, syndicated carriers, or anyone associated with this broadcast. Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. And hit us up on Twitter using the hashtag Spaced Out Radio. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Welcome back to the second hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott. Great to have you with us. Tomorrow night on the program, we get into the Shroud of Turin. J.R. Watts is going to join us. We get going at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern Time at spacedoutradio.com. We want to welcome in everyone listening in on WQEE 99 Rock the Key down in Noonan, Georgia, home of The Walking Dead. We are live as well on the United Public Radio Network, 107.7 FM in New Orleans, in over 160 countries around the world. Good to have you with us as well. We are also live on KTLK, The Fringe FM, Renegade Talk Radio out of Las Vegas, and if you're listening in on Revolution Radio, remember the Double R Machine is a donation station financed by you, the valued listener. Head on over to freedomslips.com and donate today. Bill Cardwell has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Bathyrographical. Bathyrographical. I'm saying that totally wrong. Bathyrographical. Bathyrographical. There we go. Bill sets a password each and every night right here on the mighty SOR. Now, if you want to follow us on social media, you can do so on Twitter, at Spaced Out Radio. Use the hashtag Spaced Out Radio if you want to connect live with me during the show as well. You can give our Facebook page a like, Spaced Out Radio Show. You can also ask to join the SOR Space Travelers group so you can chat live during the show as well. You can follow me on Instagram, Dave Scott, SOR. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Spaced Out Radio Show. Tune us in on TuneIn. Download and subscribe to our shows on iTunes. We're also on TalkStream Live and iHeartRadio in the United States. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including joining the SOR Space Travelers Club for $5 a month, rock out to some Bumblefoot, shop at the Spaced Out Radio store, watch some UFO Seekers and Contact TV, and so much more. Everything at spacedoutradio.com. Tonight, John Tenney was supposed to join us. So if you're tuning in late and wondering where John is, John had a family emergency a few hours before showtime and had to reschedule. So we'll get John on probably in November. And we had to do a show anyways. We can't just say, no, we're going dark tonight. No way, man. This is Spaced Out Radio. We are here live 7 days a week. We just don't do that. So I am joined by Joe Roop from KTLK, The Fringe FM. He did his hair specifically for this show because he knows how important good hair is for broadcasting. Joe, right. Welcome back.
What's going on?
Not too much, dude. Not too much. I do want to remind you guys, this is an interactive show. So if there's anything you guys might want us to chat about, type it in on Twitter or in the chat rooms. I will get to it. Please type them in capital letters so I know it's a question. Would greatly appreciate that. We got a couple of questions here. Joe, we'll start off with Canadian Joe at hashtag Spaced Out Radio on Twitter. What do you think about the documents the CIA is going to release about the JFK assassination? You think they will?
I think if they do, they're still going to leave out some pertinent information. I mean, what are we supposed to do? Just hope that what they show us is what is everything? I'm still going to read them, yeah, but I still think they're going to leave some stuff out. They're in control of it.
They're not going to admit it. They're not going to admit anything. If those papers say anything, it's going to confirm that Lee Harvey Oswald pulled the trigger. Yep. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. They're not going to let people know. You know what I'm saying? They're not.
Yeah.
What's really cool is at the Paracon, I met this gentleman named Michael W. Hall. Calls himself the Paranormal Lawyer. And one of his friends that he is efforting to get on this show was actually part of a CIA/mob team. And he ran a safe house really, really close to Dealey Plaza when JFK was assassinated. And he's in his 80s, late 70s, early 80s. And we're going to try and get him on the show for the JFK assassination anniversary on the 22nd of November.
Well, according to what they're saying, it's supposed to be like 3,810 separate documents with 441 formally. Well, the 3,810 is the whole package. 441 of those were withheld from us. That's quite a bit of documentation to be withheld. But I don't think there's going to be an admittance to what happened, what actually happened.
I don't think they can, man. I really don't. What are they supposed to do? Yeah, we knocked off the president.
Yeah. The statute of limitation, we were guilty, but you can't do nothing about it now.
Yeah.
And there
Go
would be an uproar.
Go figure. I don't think there's going to be anything pertinent out of that outside of Lee Harvey Oswald being the main shooter, the lone shooter, even though it's been proven and tested that the gun that he uses or used during that shooting could not have fired off 3 successive shots that quickly, that accurately. It just doesn't make sense, man. It doesn't make sense.
It's all going to be in spreadsheet material, too, so it's probably not going to be that detailed.
Oh,
That's what
agree.
they're saying. It's got to be, you got to have an unzipper to unzip the documentation, a PDF reader, we all got that stuff, a Windows Media Player to listen to the audio files, and some kind of spreadsheet, thing. We all have that stuff.
Well, not just that, but how much of it's going to be blacked out?
The most important stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, they can release the documents all they want, but how much of it is going to be blacked out? That's the big one.
Well, how do we tell that? I mean, I've asked people like Jeffrey Boyd Jr. and some other people, because they always, refer to those documents released on these government sites. I mean, really, how can we trust anything? Anything in science, like he was talking about, once you get data that is a lie or you can prove it's a lie, that becomes a bad source of data. You can't use it in science. So it's just to appease our brains for a little while longer, I guess. But I would love to know. All of us would love to know what really happened, but I don't think we're ever going to know.
I don't know either. I don't know. Joe, I hope that suits you. We're going to move on here. Tammy has a question. She says, this is a long one. She gave us the long version, so I'm going to read it all here. All right. She says, for at least 6 months, there have been airplanes flying over my area at dusk till around midnight and then start again before dawn. These planes fly low. There's always 2, and the odd time 3. They have lights on them that I can best describe as looking like the type they use on construction sites with the arrows that move from one side to the other rapidly. These are intensely bright white, and the planes also have blue and red lights that seem to go in a circular pattern from side to side. I've been the only one to see these because of the times they are flying, except for tonight. My daughter-in-law was here and came out to see them as well. So again, people don't think I'm crazy. Anyhow, another thing is the majority of the time you don't hear them. Maybe a quarter of the time you can hear them, which is strange with how low they fly. We have a small airport here, and I was there at the beginning of September to have dinner at the restaurant, and when there was 2 fighter jets parked off the runway. We don't have a base of any kind here, so that in itself seems strange as well. The closest base to me is Trenton Air Force Base, which is about a 2-hour drive. Not sure if it's related or not, but is worth mentioning. One plane was a bright red, and the other was a camo pattern with colors blending into the clouds. Sorry for the length, but I'm dying to know if anyone has any input on what they think the reason for these being here on a regular basis for so long. Now, as someone who lived near an airport that used to get military aircraft flying in and out of it, where there was no Air Force base, a lot of times what will happen is they will bring Canadian military planes into community airports for a number of reasons. It could be to tour the air cadets around, because if you have an airport in town, you have an air cadet base. It could be for any type of training. It could be because they are just parked there because they're stuck and the Canadian military can't afford fuel. Whatever it could be, that's what it could be. As far as the lights that are going, most Canadian military planes that have the red on them are trainers, and they use a T-45 Goshawk, so they are usually black. Some are gray, some are camouflaged. Canada has about 45 of those aircraft that are spread across the country, most of them at Cold Lake, Alberta, for CFB Cold Lake. But a lot of times what they will do is park them at municipal airports where there are air cadet groups, and they take them around the kids. Sometimes they could be there for a week to 2 weeks. Sometimes the Canadian military will allow pilots to fly home in case of an emergency. Now, how I know this is my cousin is married to a Canadian Armed Forces pilot, and he actually, she was pregnant and fell down when she was visiting family down in Phoenix, and he was able to fly a military plane down to Phoenix Airport in order to check on her. So they do allow that as well. But I don't think, Tammy, that you have anything to worry about on the fact that if you do have military aircraft there, it's not really a big deal. Unless it's a CF-18, which has the double wings, double engines, okay, and double tail wings, then, at times, they will spread the aircraft out around the country just because maybe there's some threats coming where they need to scramble or whatever. So that happens as well. I don't think you have anything to worry about. The lights sound military rather than UFO. So I'd like to get a picture. So Tammy, if you could get a picture, that would be great. I would appreciate that if you could. So,
just out of curiosity, when you guys look into the sky at objects like that with blinking lights and things, what's the first thing that you think about to look to see if it's a UFO, other than the blinking lights?
A lot of times I will actually try, me being an aircraft buff, and I've been an airplane buff since I was like 3 years old, when my dad took me to my first air show in 1977. I look for the patterns. Are the lights flashing at the same time? Like when I get, for instance, what I like to call the strobers up in the sky, I'm looking for irregular patterns. Are they different colors? Are they not? Like Dawn in the chat room just sent me a couple of pictures of a blue light that's been hovering around her place. Dawn, thank you. Hopefully it's still there. I really look forward to seeing stuff like that. So, I try and figure out, okay, what's around my place, what flies around my place.
Get the lay of the land first.
Get the lay of the land.
Okay.
The second UFO I saw was a red. We were driving by the airport one night. My ex-wife and I and our kids, we were coming back from a weekend in Seattle, and we drove by the local airport in our town, and there was a red light doing figure eights way high in altitude above the airport. Yet that airport does not allow any type of avionics of that way to be flying in the dark. I think Canadian aviation, you can only do aerobatics like that in daytime, unless you're military. But there was no blue light or green light or white light. It was just like a red light, like a red orb in the sky doing figure eights above the airport. So
when I saw MUFON's thing they had where they gave me like a sample investigative sheet that they do. It kind of, be honest with you, it kind of intimidated me a little bit. And because all I do is I go outside and I just look up and see. So I'm just kind of curious. I haven't been in the UFO field that long, but I am curious as to how, what people look for that have been doing it a while, to quickly identify, nope, that's a plane. Well, that's a UFO. Or you see what I'm saying?
First thing I always say is listen for sound. Sound is always the big one. If you have no sound, then that eliminates pretty much every terrestrial aircraft. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, good point.
You can tell if it's a prop plane, a helicopter, or a jet. You can tell very easily. So the first thing I always do is I listen.
Okay.
And that's probably the most important advice I can give you.
And if they're at a certain altitude, though, you still, I mean, I guess it's hard to hear. No, I mean, I see what you're saying. Even the ones that are way up there, you still, if it's quiet outside, you can still hear them.
Exactly.
So sound and patterns. I have to remember that.
Yes, and if you have a laser, do not point your laser at them until you've confirmed it's not an aircraft. See, that's a beauty up here. I had the coolest sight last night, man. Coolest sight. Okay? How would you like to be on this aircraft? There was a jet flying over my area, and we maybe get like 3, maybe 4 jets a day. Okay, like we're on the flight line for the cross-continental, so, you know, flights coming out of China or Japan going to Toronto, they'll fly over us, right? And so last night I'm watching this airplane, or this commercial airliner fly over, and their view, and my view from my patio was a full sky of the Northern Lights, man. That's so cool. I had the green last night.
Did you get any on film or anything?
No,
Did you take a picture of it?
No, you know what? I've tried on my... But, you know what? I'm a big iPhone guy, but their camera sucks.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm an
seriously.
Android guy myself. I actually work on phones. I'm legally obligated not to tell you what company I work for, yada, 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 but I actually work in Tier 2 tech support level on phones, so I can tell you right off the bat, iPhones are a pain in the butt. All around. Go get an Android. Do yourself a favor.
Then I've wasted all my songs. And I'm not about to rebuy 530 songs, man.
Well, you just back them up and move them over. You can do that.
Yeah, I know. But, you know, I like my iPhone. I'm used to it. But I can tell you this. Their camera sucks. So Mark Spender, my Bigfoot guy, sent me a note. His wife, Tara, was vacuuming the house today, and she was home alone, and she got her butt pinched by the ghost in their house.
Astral entity. I do that all the time. If I find a woman in the astral realm, I will definitely try to pinch her.
Was that you?
Just letting you know.
Was that you?
I don't think it was me.
How do we know?
Wait a minute. What does she look like?
Oh, she's a very, very good-looking lady.
That might have been me.
It might have
Could have been me, possibly.
It could have been. It wouldn't surprise me. Wouldn't surprise me. You're a piggy like that.
I mean, I didn't even know it was possible till Robert Monroe talked about it and Journeys Out of the Body. So there's a technique to it, but you can actually move stuff around in that realm, like a ghost. So I don't think it was I hope it's not a ghost. You know, it's probably somebody just playing with you, you know, teasing you. I hope it didn't leave a mark.
Well, you know what? Remember, Mark carries around a bazooka and an RPG and one of them saw machine guns. You know.
That's crazy, though.
Yeah, I know. It's just insane.
Tammy said she sent you a video.
Yes, I'm looking at the video right now. I'm just trying to get it on the big screen here. Because sometimes Facebook can act up a little bit. You know how it is. But I love me some UFOs, man. I love me some UFOs.
I love them too, but the problem is, well, you may have this problem. Out here I would love, when I went to the desert in Nevada, I actually got to see the sky from horizon to horizon. I seen more stars than I ever saw in my life. I would, if I ever go back, I'm literally just going to sit out there for hours. But out here in the woods of Arkansas, I give up sometimes, man, because the tree lines are so high no matter which way you look. So you only get a section of the sky, you know, unless you're willing to drive out to the Delta.
That's the beauty. I love it up here, man. Like, the view, living on top of the mountains here, it is phenomenal because you can see so much. And you get a moonless sky like tonight, I'll go outside, man, and the only glow in my yard is from the moonlight or from the starlights. It's so dark. I do have to tell you something freaky though last night. Not really scary in a in a weird way or anything like that. So I'm on the phone with Olaf Phillips after our show last night. And we're just talking some radio biz, the way we like to do things. Nice. And I hear this noise. So I turn on my piddly because I don't even know where my flashlight is. I usually carry a flashlight with me, but I don't know where it is. I'm going to have to find it. Because we're at that time of year now where you never know what's sneaking up on you. So I'm scanning my driveway. Nothing. Go to my backyard right by my fence, and I got a pair of white eyeballs staring at me.
What?
About 35 feet away. And I'm like, okay, what could this be? And the eyeballs move closer to my fence and closer to my fence. And then the deer jumps over. Then the deer jumps over the fence and decides to run up my driveway. So, that was interesting. I'm not going to lie. It scared me a little bit. It really did.
Yeah, I mean, a deer's eyeball does. If it was the deer you're talking about, right? I mean, we get them out. Golly, every night we almost run over them out here. But yeah, if the light shines directly into their eye, it does look really freaky.
All right, Tammy, I viewed your video. That's definite terrestrial aircraft. Just so you know. Just so you know, I'll send it to you, Joe Roop. Why do you go by Joseph?
I don't. I try to go by Joe if I can.
Your Facebook says Joseph.
Yeah, because I made it a long time ago, and I just put that in there. It's an old thing that my dad raised me up. He'd be like, I don't want you going by Joey, Joe, or any of that nonsense. You're Joseph. That's what I named you. So that, and I'll kind of, when I started to become my own man, I was like, I like Joe. It's simpler. It's stronger. It's more simple. So I'm trying to make the transition, but it's not working.
You know what? It was the same for me, man, because everybody in my family still calls me David. I'm like, no, man, I'm Dave.
Yeah, I can't even imagine
David. I'm a big boy now. I'm a Dave. You know, I grew up. I hit testosterone levels. I cut down trees, man.
I did call you one time, and you were chopping wood. That was pretty impressive.
Oh, yeah.
What are you doing, man? I'm chopping wood. I hope whatever you're calling about is important. I was thinking, that's doing manly things. I'll let you go, bro.
Exactly. You have no idea the nightmare of running out of firewood when there's still winter left, man. You don't have a burnaholic wife like I do.
Yeah, we used to haul that stuff when I was a kid a lot. It is a pain.
She's a pyro. She's an absolute pyro. You know, I walk upstairs sometimes, and I think I see the devil going into my fridge to try and get a drink because he's so bloody hot. I literally see our animals unzip their fur coats just so they could cool off a little bit.
It burns right through it, huh?
Oh,
so you're stocking up right now.
My goodness. I think I'm equal to last year's wood, and I'm afraid, man. I'm afraid.
Your fears sound justified.
Tripp says in the chat room, that's why Dave wants to do the Caribou Paracon. He wants help splitting wood. No, I tell you who's saving my bacon. Mark, my buddy, he lent me his wood splitter this year. I'd never used a wood splitter. Normally I'd use a big maul. Because saying maul is so much more fun than saying axe. You know, anybody can chop with an axe, but you got to be a man to chop with a maul. Paid like I paid like $130 for this maul. Right? It kicks ass. But Mark lent me his wood splitter. So I'm pretty excited about how much wood I've been able to split and how quickly I've been able to do it. I just haven't given it back yet. He's like, just keep it until you're done. I'm almost done, Mark. I promise you I'm almost done. Almost. I think by the end of the weekend I could be done. Just mentally. But there's
I can't see anything but a black screen in this video, Dave. Where am I looking for?
You gotta wait. You gotta give it a few seconds. And you'll see the terrestrial aircraft, you know.
Right on.
Don says, well, the splitter sounds lazy. No, it's a godsend. It's a godsend. Much like the Dutchy donut at Tim Hortons that they have discontinued again. It's a godsend.
Yeah, it is a little slower than chopping, but it's definitely worth it. Yes, definitely.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You know, glare on this thing. Oh, wait a minute. I think I see it now.
I will have all of you know, though, that I do not wear plaid, specifically red plaid, when I am cutting wood.
That's what I thought of, man, when you told me on that phone. I thought you were like lumberjack. Lumberjack Dave wearing plaid.
I wear my Keep Calm and Chive On shirt.
Dude, we used to haul that stuff when I was a kid. All of our cousins and everything. I mean, it was Yes, it was a nightmare. It was the most work we all did was chopping and hauling wood. And when I got older and we got central heating, I became spoiled on that. I haven't looked back.
No, there's something about chopping wood, man, that is, you know, it makes you feel good afterwards. Like, I am dead tired right now. Dead tired. I never knew, previous to owning a chainsaw, how much of a workout running a chainsaw is.
That's so weird we're talking about this. I was actually watching Fire in the Sky
nice.
Before we started this. I watch it
movie.
once a month, and just to come up with questions, because one day I'm going to have Travis on the show and talk to him. Have you talked to Travis on the show yet?
You know what? I have not. I've tried. I've messaged him like 3 times. He is apparently backing off the radio interviews right now because I think he's probably getting sick and tired of telling his stories, you know. But, you know, I wish Hollywood would have, you know, not put their shtick on that. It was a great story. You know, it was a great story without having to ruin it with the Hollywood ending that the aliens were all bad and everything. I mean, let's face it. What would have been the reaction of the public if you know, would they think aliens were so bad if Travis's real life story was told properly?
No, I don't think so. Or if they would have did the movie, yeah. If they would have did the movie like the book, yeah, it would have been a whole different spin on that.
Shar says, Travis was on the show with Rob Lowe. Of course he was. Television is a different thing. You get paid for television. And no, I do not carry a foldable shovel. No, I don't. I would if I had a Jeep. But I don't.
I remember when we were at the Ozark Paranormal Conference, and I saw Travis for the first time, and you know, Dave Cruz, he was like, listen, man, wouldn't it be cool, you know, go over there, and he was nudging me, go over there and talk to Travis and get him to come over and talk to us. And, you know, I'm like, okay. So I go over there and, like, you know, I do my whole spiel. Hey, Travis, we're from the Fringe FM. Well, yeah, dude, I'll come over there. Right. So I go back, and Dave's interviewing, like, Stanton Friedman, somebody else. I'm like, okay. And then he sends me back over there. So I had to be the bad guy. So I ended up apologizing to Travis Walton in the bathroom of all places, in the men's room. I said, look, man, I am so sorry that I keep bugging you, but Dave really wants to talk to you, and we would like to. And he's like, no, it's no big deal, man. But you know, I get hounded. He told me he gets hounded 24/7 by people, and that he would just come over when he was ready. So I finally told Dave, I said, dude, I promise he's coming over. And Dave's like, no, he's not. You know, he had that mentality like, Travis isn't going to come over here. But he did. He came over and talked to us. And as I always stated before, I have talked to a lot of people, but when you listen to that guy, there's no ounce of lying in him. You just know it.
Absolutely. I would love to get him on. But, I mean, who's the next one? You know what I'm saying? That's what we need to be. That's what we as an alternative media need to be finding, is the next one. That next amazing story. I mean, let's face it, Fire in the Sky came out, what, 1989, 1990?
Yeah.
It's been 27 years. And previous to that was Close Encounters of the Third Kind. I'm saying quality alien contact movies. Right?
Do you think that that's already happened to somebody, though, and, we're just not believing them? Like, maybe, for instance, the Stan Romanek thing? Like, maybe this stuff really is happening. We have a different kind of media than we had back then.
We do. We have a very frugal media. Actually, this brings up a good point. Do you mind if I give you a part of my speech?
Sure. I'd love to hear it.
Okay. So this part, I just have to find it here. I wrote out, if you haven't heard my speech on social media, this is from the Forest Moon Paracon this past weekend. I wrote out what I feel, in my opinion, as an observer of the paranormal field, of things that we could improve. So, Joe, we can debate them. We could get your opinion on them. You can ask me questions. I can ask you questions, but I'm curious what you think. All right? All right. So this is the way I feel we can improve on it. Number one, we need to remember to stay open-minded, yet skeptical at the same time. We have to understand that for many of these topics, the experience may be the only information we have to go on. We need to read people and give them the benefit of the doubt that their experience is real. If they are lying or trying to manipulate the system, they will screw up. So my question is, do you think we believe enough in this field?
No.
Why not?
I think we do, but I don't think the public does. I think it's a laughing matter. Like, even if it came on regular news, they say, there's another alien incident. That's almost like you can see the smirk on the news people's face. I don't think it's taken seriously enough. I think it needs to be more scientific. I mean, it's just too much evidence now.
We're going to get into that here in a second. You said the magic S word. See, the reason this is what I think. I think everybody has to be skeptical in this field. But we have to have common sense with that skepticism as well. Because like I had said earlier on in my speech, everybody is always saying, we need proof. Where's the proof? Give me the proof. Am I correct?
That's it. Yeah. I can't deny I've been that way myself.
Yet, how many times has someone been convicted of murder or any other crime strictly on eyewitness testimony? And they don't have a weapon. They can't find the weapon. It just disappears. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yet they're still convicted.
We have more proof than we need right now to prove that UFOs are real, ghosts are real, Sasquatch is real. Except so many people have faked evidence. How many bodies have they found? Sasquatch bodies, and yet they all turn out to be something ridiculous like a bear hide or a gorilla suit or whatever it could be. Right?
How do we stop that, though? That's the thing about it. How do we stop the sensationalism of the fakers?
Well, but this is where the public has to... The public will know. The public will know if they're real or fake. And I understand the public is getting fickle over the information because there's so much garbage out there. I mean, how many times do we have to see people post, what is this in the sky? And it's a CGI of a planet. Okay? Put it this way, if you don't know whether it's real or not, whether you believe the mainstream media or not, if Nibiru is sitting and spinning and you could see it in daylight, like some of these CGI crap films they put out there,
yeah,
the mainstream guaranteed is going to put that on. So if it isn't on CNN or Fox or ABC, NBC, CBS, or whatever other news stations you got down there, it's not real. Or if the title says, this is something that the mainstream media does not want you to know about, or if Facebook is taking, is a limit, watch it before Facebook removes this video, it's fake. Real simple. It's fake. Just move on.
Clickbait for sure.
I apologize. I'm having this stupid cough. Deciding
what sources? I mean, what? I am curious because I do a radio show too, and I scramble sometimes. I even got someone else helping me with the news. I can't find a good reference website, and I'd be interested in the chat room too, where people go for stories of reference.
Are you talking news?
Paranormal news, UFO news, paranormal news. Yeah,
I like the Huffington Post.
Okay.
I really do. I'm a fan of the Huffington Post.
Why? Why do you like them better?
I think they are try and blend mainstream with the fringe and alternative at the same time. And they kind of, I am very, very fond of that. I think they take their journalism seriously.
Yeah, I know that's important to you. And man, I'm glad that it is important to you. I've heard you talk about it a lot, and
yeah.
That's one of the reasons why I love having you on the network, because it's important that to find the truth, we've got to be truthful with ourselves all the way around.
Absolutely.
And that's not happening right now. I mean, YouTube has got, I don't know how many channels where it's all clickbait because they're just making so much ad money off this stuff, and they don't care what they put up. I can name some channels right off the top of my head, but you guys already know what they are because you're on YouTube as well looking at this stuff.
Absolutely.
But I did see a video of people that actually had aliens coming to their house, and it was pretty convincing because it didn't look like they acted it out. And I don't know if you guys know which one I'm talking about, but I couldn't tell if this was another, I myself couldn't tell if this was another a fakery type thing because of all the crazy stuff that's on the web.
Mm-hmm. Could be.
I'm really trying to figure this out for more than just my radio show, but other reasons. My own interest, I don't want to be duped.
Amy Martin's going to send you some stuff.
I can't wait for that.
Yeah. She's good people. She's really good people. If you haven't had the chance to meet Amy yet, she's very good people. All right.
Yeah. Trippin says, but everything on YouTube is true, though.
Oh,
yeah,
of course.
That's the problem.
Of course. So here's number 2 of my speech. Let's not be so critical of everything. We are all grown up and have the ability to use common sense when it comes to the plausibilities that something strange has occurred. Let's get excited again for what is happening rather than trying to debunk everything. What's wrong with believing?
That's a good point. I think there's a psychological defect with somebody. There's a difference between a skeptic with an open mind and somebody who's dead set on debunking every single thing they can.
Right.
That person is a huge problem in society, especially in the paranormal world, So I'm totally in with that.
See, my point of that is we need to get back to the excitement of the experience. Okay? I always say to people, to the audience here, we believe everybody. And I've been critiqued on that. I've had people, say to me, you shouldn't be like that. There's a lot of shysters in this field. And I agree. And I try to weed them out. But at some point, as Amy just said, there is a big difference between skepticism and denialism. Right? And that's truth. Right? That's absolute truth.
Yeah, denialism is definitely the debunker mentality, which I'll never understand that to this day, to be honest with you. It gets on my nerves bad.
But the point that I'm trying to get at is the person who is speaking. See, I give my audience the full benefit of being judge, jury, and executioner with every guest.
Sure. Yeah.
That's their job. It's not my job to do that. Now, if the guest says something that is blatantly horrific or just so full of BS, you got to call them out on it. Right?
Yeah, most definitely.
You have to. You don't have a choice. But at some point, it's up to the audience to believe or not believe what the guest has to say. That's why we do paranormal radio. But every now and again, what's wrong with believing?
Is that what you mean by we got to get back into the excitement of the experience?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Number 3, hoaxers will be hoaxers. You're smart enough and big enough to see through their erroneous ways. Use your mind and intuition to figure out what's right and what's wrong. That's pretty self-explanatory.
Yep.
You know, example, our ghost photo that we got. Some of the responses we got on that were head-scratching. Absolutely head-scratching. From we faked it, to we put a cardboard cutout on the stairwell. Right? I'm not believing this photo until you do a bunch more research. I had one person say to me that, because I verified the photo, they said, who are you to verify the photo? You just sound, that's going to make you sound like every other person out there who's faking evidence.
Well, what do you mean I verified it, though? What do you mean by that?
What I'm saying is, I knew the situation. I knew the person running that part of the tour. I met the lady who took the photo. Asked her if it was just a random photo. She said yes. Okay. Corey, who was running that part of the tour, verified there was nobody on the stairwell at that time. Right? Easy to verify when you ask the right questions. But just because some armchair computer, critic wants to say, well, you are, who are you to verify the photo? Well, who are you to verify the photo? It was easy to tell, Joe, who listens to this show and who doesn't. Because all the positive comments that we got were from people who listen to this show.
Yeah, so basically what you're saying there is I'm giving you my word that this is verified based on the integrity of what I'm saying. That's
Absolutely.
What you meant by that. Okay.
Absolutely. I've never pulled the wool over the listeners' eyes. I've never said anything that's BS to them. Why would I?
Well, you definitely wouldn't be in radio this long if you'd have done that, because people like that don't last.
Exactly. Sorry, I'm just turning on my heater here. My feet got cold. I put the credibility of this show and my own reputation on the line for that photo, knowing the circumstances. Right?
There was one freaky photo, though, man.
It was. Right?
That's a scary ghost. That's not a regular.
And look, I'm not naive enough to say, okay, I'm not naive enough to say that there aren't people faking things like that. Okay?
Sure.
But is it going to do me or this radio show any good for me to come out on the air and BS my audience?
No, I mean,
exactly.
For one, I mean, it's about integrity, but two, if your agenda is to do a great radio show, which you do, by the way, honesty is key, because your audience will be the first one to let you know when you've backed out on something.
Absolutely.
Or when you're not telling the truth.
Absolutely. And not only my audience, my hugest critics were on Twitter at #SpacedOutRadio. Okay? They would rip me a new one. John T. at Cubby Creative at #SpaceOutRadio says, I disagree. The more skeptics, the better. It forces people to higher standards of evidence. What's evidence? I'll get into
the more
this.
Skeptics, the better. Yeah, I mean, as long as it doesn't take away from the experience.
No,
less debunkers and more skeptics.
Exactly. As I said, everybody should be skeptical, but you still have to have the ability to believe. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. You have to have the ability to believe. Not that you want to believe. Big difference. Okay?
That's perfect. You put that perfectly.
Everybody needs to have the ability to believe. You're man enough, John, and there are people who are women enough to be able to tell what's right and what's wrong. Everybody should be skeptical. Everybody should be skeptical, but you have to have an open mind with it too. Number 4. I'm going to use the S word now. Let's get rid of the word science in the paranormal. The sooner we do, the quicker we may have answers. Science, for all intents and purposes, is to prove or disprove theory. Right now we have too many researchers using opinion as scientific fact or are refusing to investigate certain theories because they don't believe in it. Therefore, if you fall into this category, you are not conducting anything scientific. We lose the word science from the paranormal. We gain more credibility with each other. What do you think, Joe?
I think I agree and I disagree. I agree on the fact that your version, what you view as science, is the same thing as what I view as science. And that there are people that claim to take... Well, if you look at the scientific evidence, well, you haven't looked at the scientific evidence, so don't tell me that, you know? So, yeah, I agree and disagree. I think if we're going to be, I think we need more science involved if you're actually going to be scientific and do research into the matter instead of basing an opinion. But I would hate to get rid of science altogether out of it.
The reason why I mention that, okay, is because... there are too many people, and you've had them on your show. Say you get ABC Paranormal Team.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what kind of research do you do? Well, all our research is scientifically done. Oh, okay. How do you do that?
Yeah, exactly.
Tell me what your purpose is. Do you do a purpose, a procedure, a hypothesis, and at the end, and a conclusion? Well, what are you talking about?
Right.
Are you in, if you're ghost hunting, are you in a controlled environment? Because just using the technology is not conducting science. Just, using your brains by saying, I shifted, or I burped, or I farted, or I coughed.
Or I was in a noisy area.
Yeah.
Period.
That's not science. Okay? If you don't allow a psychic on your team because you think it's unscientific, you're not conducting science there either.
I agree with you on that.
Okay? So what I'm saying is, I would say out of 90% of the people out there who use the word science have no idea what the word science actually means. So the sooner we get rid of those people talking science, the more we may have the ability to find something that is actually truthful.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what I think. I don't argue with you on that at all.
That's all I'm getting at.
It is to the point though, like you're saying, where it almost hurts to have the science in there because you have so many like that. You might as well just throw it out and say, look, do you believe in this stuff or do you not? And if you don't, then go away. Or do you not want to believe in it? If you just don't want to believe in it, then go away. You're not helping.
Well, and that's the whole point. Okay? That's the whole point. Too many times have we had on this show, I don't know about yours, people coming on, well, we don't believe that Bigfoot is interdimensional. That's woo-woo. What the hell is woo-woo? And I know a skeptic is going to go crazy here. Hashtag Spaced Out Radio. Are you calling it woo-woo because you don't believe it? Or are you calling it woo-woo because you've actually truly scientifically debunked the theory? What are you doing?
It's a bias. It's just a bias and opinion. That's why they say that.
I understand.
I hate that woo-woo thing too, man.
I understand that. Okay? But you're not conducting science if you're already eliminating theory before you've investigated it because you don't believe in it. Oh,
it's true.
Hold on. Skeptic is upsetting me here. At hashtag Spaced Out Radio. He says, I say woo-woo when I want to be a pain in the ass. No, I expected something better than that. Come on. That's not quality snark. I set you up and you hit a dribbler back to the pitcher's mound.
Ground ball with eyes. That was nothing. Dave, you can sure get under people sometimes, can't you? You like it, don't you?
Well, you know what?
Snark fights.
It's not that. I love the guys on Twitter. It's a different crowd, man. It's a totally different crowd. And I get them because there's nothing more that I wish that I could get in there and be like with them. I can't, though. I can't because I'm on the public figure side, you know? And with us trying to make a push into terrestrial, I don't need someone reading my Twitter account, with me saying something snarky and them taking it literally. Skeptic says, you really wanted me to get mad? I'm sorry to disappoint.
Hey, was this the guy that was... This the same dude that was hammering this last time when I was on your show, I think?
Absolutely. I love the guy. Usually he brings his A game. Today he's bringing his C- game, I see. It's funny. But anyways...
That's what makes me gun-shy about everything. But you've given me good advice, Dave.
Thank you.
You do remember when I gave you a phone call and
I
told you, yeah, these people, they're hating on me and they're spreading lies about me on the internet. And you're like, dude, you put yourself on the radio. What did you think was going to happen?
Exactly. Joe, I'm going to get you to hold on right there as we're going to hop out for our second break of the night. We're going to continue on with the list that I read at the Paracon because I think it's kind of important. We're only through 4 of them. I got 6 more to go. I think that'll eat up the last hour. Who knows? See what time Joe has to get up tomorrow morning. Maybe he wants to come over and chop some more wood up with me tomorrow. We're going to continue on with open topic, open discussion tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Unfortunately, John Tenney had to cancel a few hours before showtime due to a family emergency. So Joe Roop from KTLK, the Fringe FM, is sitting with me tonight. We're hanging on out, discussing everything in the paranormal. What's good, what's bad, what's ugly. We're going to see where it goes. Uh-oh. Robert White just said, when you go outside to look at the stars, look for more eyes. We'll see what that means right after this.
We're getting strange on Saturday nights. Hi there, this is Dave Cruz, and each Saturday, starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, I will take you on a tour of the weird and obtuse on Spaced Out Saturdays, from aliens to Sasquatch and every tinfoil hat in between. We got you covered. Join us at spacedoutradio.com for Spaced Out Saturdays. See you there.
Not ready for bed on Saturday night? Right after Spaced Out Saturdays, hop on over to S4 with Corey Ruiz and me, Eric Cooper from Forest Moon Paranormal. With S4, there are no limits to what we try and uncover. From government conspiracies to helping clean up the paranormal, no topic is safe on S4. We get to the heart of the matter, of the subjects you want to learn more about. So tune in on S4 starting at midnight Pacific, 3 a.m. Eastern, only on spacedoutradio.com.
Have you had an experience you can't explain? Would you like someone you can trust to look into it? We have just the place. The SOR Sightlines Report is the place for you to find answers. Whether it's Bigfoot, UFOs, Dogman, ghosts, aliens, or anything strange, the Sightlines Report will get you connected with one of our expert researchers to find out what's going on. All of your personal information is kept 100% confidential. The SOR Sightlines Report, a place for you to find the answers you need. Only at spacedoutradio.com.
Hi there. I'm Butch Witkowski, lead investigator with U4Cop. On the final Monday of every month, you can listen to me and host Dave Scott on Spaced Out Radio's Strange Days. We're going to get to the heart of the matter when it comes to what's happening out there. People are seeing and experiencing things from ET contact to Bigfoot, and I want to hear about it. Your experiences are what we investigators need to help solve these unknown mysteries. So tune in at spacedoutradio.com to the final Monday of every month from Butch Witkowski's Strange Days.
This is Eric Markham, news editor for the Spaced Out Radio's The Encounter Online. We have put together a great team of writers and journalists from all over the world to bring you top-quality paranormal stories. From alien encounters to the latest conspiracies, you won't find any of that fake news here. True stories and top-notch reporting as we look to bring these experiences to the mainstream. The Encounter, online, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Do you want to know the truth? Do UFOs exist? Are aliens real? Are the governments hiding the biggest secret in history? We're UFO seekers, and we're on a hunt for the truth. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow along with us as we journey across the United States, visiting UFO hotspots and alien hotspots, trying to document the UFO phenomenon. Catch us on Spaced Out Radio every third Monday of the month as we discuss Area 51, UFOs, and more. And also, don't forget to subscribe to us on YouTube.
Patrolling the Pacific Northwest, we are always on the lookout for the strange and unassuming stories that real people are experiencing. Hi, I'm Vincent Zunza from Pacific North Weird. Me and Alexandra Sullivan have teamed to bring to you those odd stories that never seem to make it into the mainstream. Stories so weird that will leave you scratching your head wondering, is this real? It's as real as it gets with Pacific North Weird. You can watch our videos right here at spacedoutradio.com.
Become more intimate and interactive with Spaced Out Radio. Join our Space Travelers Club with your new membership. For $5 a month, we'll provide you with special access to the website, monthly prize draws from books to psychic readings, along with monthly newsletter, private interviews, and more. Sign up today to be part of Spaced Out Radio's experience.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Don't have time to listen to Spaced Out Radio live? Wherever you are, the car, the office, the shower, or even if you're traveling, we're right here for you. Each Spaced Out Radio show can be found on iTunes, TuneIn, and on our YouTube channel, Spaced Out Radio Show. It's the perfect way for you to catch up on our shows. For more information, just head over to our website, spacedoutradio.com, and tune in to us today.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. A rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
Strange creatures lurking in the night, the sounds of wood knocking in the forest, odd happenings right out of a fictional world. These are the reports I love. Hi there, this is author Ronald Murphy, and I would love it if you join me and Spaced Out Radio host Dave Scott the second Wednesday of every month on our journey into the unknown land of cryptozoology at spacedoutradio.com. From Mothman to Frogman and everything in between. Hey, they don't call me the crypto guru for nothing.
It's Cosmic Sundays with me, Elizabeth Anglin, in Cosmic Passport. Let me take you down a 3-hour spiritual journey where we will get into everything from ET contact to Psychic Sundays. It's a journey of listening and learning together with some of the best professionals in their fields. You can tune in to Cosmic Passport at spacedoutradio.com every Sunday, starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern.
The views and opinions expressed by tonight's guest and topic of discussion do not necessarily represent the official policy or position of Spaced Out Radio, Spaced Out Weekend, Spaced Out Radio Limited, its hosts, syndicated carriers, or anyone associated with this broadcast. You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and hashtag Spaced Out Radio, and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show. Now, back to the program.
Night here in British Columbia, beautiful night. Went outside during the break, and the Northern Lights are going crazy above SOR headquarters right now. I even woke the family up to watch this. I'm posting pictures in the SOR Space Travelers Club on Facebook right now and on Twitter. What an absolute sight. I tell you, I can't wait for the next hour of this show. No offense. I want to get this show over with so I can go out and enjoy the lights. This is absolutely incredible. Tomorrow night on the program, we have J.R. Watts joining us. We're going to get into the Shroud of Turin tomorrow night, starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern Time at spacedoutradio.com. We want to welcome in everyone listening in on WQEE 99 Rock the Key down in Noonan, Georgia, home of The Walking Dead. We are live as well on the United Public Radio Network on 107.7 FM in New Orleans and over 160 countries around the world. We are also live on KTLK, The Fringe FM, Renegade Talk Radio out of Las Vegas, and if you're listening in on Revolution Radio, the Double R Machine is a donation station financed by you, the valued listener. Head on over to freedomslips.com and donate today. Bill Cardwell has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Bethorographical is your password. Make sure you use it wisely, Space Travelers, as Bill sets a password each and every night right here on the mighty SOR. Now, if you want to follow us on social media, you can do so on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Use the hashtag Spaced Out Radio if you want to connect live with me during the show as well. Give our Facebook page a like, Spaced Out Radio Show. You can also join the SOR Space Travelers group for live discussion during the show on Facebook as well. You can follow me on Instagram, Dave Scott, SOR. Now, you can also listen to us on iHeartRadio in the United States, TalkStream Live, tune us in on TuneIn, and download and subscribe to our shows on iTunes. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including joining the SOR Space Travelers Club for $5 a month. You can also rock out to some Bumblefoot, shop at our Spaced Out Radio store, watch some great video footage from UFO seekers, as well as Contact TV, everything at spacedoutradio.com. Tonight, we were going to have John Tenney on the show, but due to a family emergency, he had to shut things down, and we can't blame him for that. So, John, I hope your family is doing well, if you're listening in. So we still had a show to do. Joe Roop from KTLK is with me. We are talking all things paranormal tonight. And we're getting a great view of the Northern Lights here in British Columbia. You know, it's kind of cool. Joe, welcome back.
Dude, this is probably the coolest thing I've ever seen. One of the coolest things I've ever seen.
Dude, right before I went inside, all of a sudden, this big red orb went ripping across. Now, I'm not saying a UFO orb. I'm saying from the Northern Lights, and then everything turned orange and yellow and green and blue. And oh my gosh, I cannot express how cool this looks. I have never seen them like this before.
Yeah, there's Waylon and I were looking at. There's something in the first photograph up in the sky, man. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's that orb you're talking about, or it could just be something. But I see it.
Oh,
but
dude.
I've never seen this before.
Oh,
nothing like this.
It's incredible. It's incredible. You know, it's absolutely incredible. You know, it really is. Oh, goodness.
I feel like I'm in a Star Trek. Well, I can imagine how you feel, because I feel like I'm in a Star Trek episode looking at it right now.
You know what we'll do after the show? What we'll do after the show, Joe, is we'll hook up on Facebook. You know how you can do the video chat?
Yeah.
Okay? And if they're still going as strong, I'll hook up on the video chat so you can watch it live.
That'd be great.
Yeah. Maybe what I'll do is maybe I'll do a Facebook Live on that and see if we can get everything, if they're still going. We'll see if we can get everything going on that. But, man.
You've never seen it like that before?
Not like that. This is probably the 7th time I've seen the Northern Lights this year, but I've never seen them dancing like that. You only see like the green haze and the odd white light comes shooting out and they're dancing around. But to actually get the actual colors over top of the house, that is incredible. Like, dude, it's like right over top of my house. It's friggin' incredible. Okay, after the show, what I will do, if the Northern Lights are still out there dancing away, I will do a Facebook Live. So that way everybody can see it. So
apparently this comes from a solar flare. The Aurora Borealis is from a solar flare. Is that true? When charged particles emitted from the sun during a solar flare penetrate the Earth's magnetic shield and collide with atoms and molecules, the collisions result in countless little bursts of light called photons, which make up the aurora. You're getting solar flared, dude.
Cool. Either way, it's friggin' beautiful.
Yeah, it is cool.
I'll take some solar flares for that. You know. John T says, how about you cancel the last hour and move on to YouTube Live? I would love to, my friend, but my terrestrial stations, it just wouldn't go over very well on that.
Down for that.
Yeah. But man, are the Northern Lights cool. God, I love them. They're phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. We got to hurry up. This clock, we got 50 minutes left.
Well, let's go down this list.
All right. So, for those of you who are showing up late, during the Paracon at Forest Moon Paracon, during my speech, which I titled, I Hate the Paranormal, I wrote down a list of what I think, in my opinion, could help make the paranormal a lot more fun and a lot more acceptable. Okay, Skeptic is bringing his A game now. He's turned it up a notch. Says any flat earther could tell you that solar flare stuff is a lot of bunk. It's NASA dropping glow stick juice from airplanes. That is brilliant. That is brilliant. That is your tweet of the night so far. Tweet of the night. That's what we're talking about, Skeptic. That's bringing
the definition of snark.
That is bringing A quality snark to the table right there. Thank you. Finally, you picked up the game. You picked it up. Great job. Thank you. All right. So we're getting to number 5 on my list. Form your own opinions from what you've heard from multiple researchers. No one is fully right in this field, but be careful of being assumptive and respect others for theirs, even though they may be different from yours. Their thoughts. What do you think?
I think yeah. I mean, I don't know what to say to that. I totally agree.
You know, if you focus in on one researcher, like let's say, for instance, let's take the Bigfoot thing again. Okay? And let's say you only want to believe that Bigfoot is Gigantopithecus, or you want to believe it's North America's great ape, or whatever you want to believe. That's fine. Okay? That's fine. You're allowed to do that. But listen to multiple researchers, because the more we learn, the more information we got out there, the better it is to form an opinion, because everybody is going to have a snippet. What's the old saying? There are 3 sides to every story. There's my side, there's your side, and then there's the truth down the middle. And that's what we have to seek, is we need to seek that truth down the middle. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely, yep.
So
yes.
if you listen to multiple researchers, even though they may have an opinion that is completely different from what you want to believe, it doesn't mean that it's wrong. It just means that you're not believing it. Number 6, have fun with this field, but let's conduct ourselves in a professional manner. Dress for success. Don't swear in front of clients. Take off your shoes in their home. You know, let's get back to basic politeness. This is for the ghost hunters out there.
Are you telling me that I've only met a couple of ghost hunting teams? Are you telling me there's people that show up like a romper room style, cussing, swearing, smoking, tracking mud in the house and stuff?
Absolutely.
Like
Absolutely.
that?
Absolutely. There's too many nightmare stories out there. Right? There's too many nightmare stories of stuff like that happening.
Man, I totally agree with the fun part, though. The fun thing, this being fun, is probably one of the most important things the experience and having fun to me. It does seem like we've got to hold on to that. We can't let that fade, no matter how many skeptics or debunkers out there want it to.
Absolutely. We need to. We need to, get out there and be professional. Too many times we have people showing up not looking professional. And I'm not saying, you wear a business suit to a ghost hunt. I'm not saying that. But at what point do you maybe try and look presentable? How's that? Look presentable. Don't be wearing your work boots into an investigation after you've been chopping wood all day like I have. You just don't do that. Shower. Do your hair.
Shower is important. Yeah. Yeah.
Don't go into going saying, yeah, we're going to get that effer out of here.
Are you?
I'd
be like, how about you get the F out of here? That's what I'd say.
But that's the reality of what's happening. That's the reality of what is happening.
Yeah. I'm trying not to laugh. This just took me by surprise. I'm sorry.
It's ridiculous. And Corey in the chat room says, yes, the Northern Lights are going crazy out there. We need an SOR hot tub party after this, Corey. I'm bringing my bathing suit. We're going to sit out in your hot tub and watch the Northern Lights.
That's Corey from Ruiz from S4? That's what you're talking about?
That's my sister, Corey Greaves. Not biological, but she's like my sister. Love her to death. She came down to the Paracon with us. An amazing, amazing person. Everybody should get the chance to meet Corey Greaves. So when we do our Paracon next year, everybody's got to go up and say, hi, Corey. Heard you're an awesome person. And she'll go, well, yeah, I don't know about that. Because she's very, Canadian that way. But we love her. Absolutely love her. All right. She says she's going out in the hot tub after she gets her nachos.
It'd be hard. I don't even know how. It'd be hard for me to do a show right now if I was you.
I got the invite. I got the invite for the SOR hot tub after this if I want to go.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Let's just hope the show continues, but I'm gonna Facebook Live.
I'll be gone by then.
Absolutely. If there's any reason to leave right now, the Northern Lights, cold beer, and the SOR hot tub with Corey. That would be the perfect scenario. It's the perfect storm. All right, let's get to number 7 here on my list. Find yourself in research. I have learned more about myself, my thoughts, and my intuition and beliefs since I started studying my own experiences. I highly recommend each of you doing this for yourself as well. What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, well, what else? If you're just going to sit around and listen to other people's stories and you're not going to do this yourself, what fun is that? I mean, it's cool to listen to stories and everything, but definitely go experience and have your own thing and your own way and do your own path in this thing, for sure.
See, the one thing that I mean by that is there's a lot of people who are interested in this field who've never had an experience. Okay? And for those of us who have, I know for me, and I can only speak for me, but I really wanted to learn about absolutely everything about people's thoughts. And look, there's stuff out there I don't believe. Okay? There is stuff out there I don't believe. And I think it's, in my opinion, in my head, and I never say what it is. Okay? Well, sometimes I do. But there is just stuff that I think, man, that's way too far out there. I don't get that at all. But what I'm doing is I'm weighing my own experiences from what I experienced to what everybody else has and what they're saying. That doesn't mean they're wrong. They could be right. They could be right.
I'm curious, though. You don't want to say it, but there's stuff you don't believe.
Okay, I'll give you one example. Okay, I know I'm in the minority believing that there is something special about Sasquatch. Okay, because of the experience I have, and knowing what the First Nations people believe in my area about Sasquatch being some sort of interdimensional being or shapeshifter, one of the two. And when I combine that with my experience, it makes sense. That's why I believe that. But there are people out there, and we've had them on this show, who believe that they don't call Sasquatch, they call them the forest people. And that we need to treat the forest people with dignity and respect. Almost going really hippie-like. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
what if they are the forest people, though, Dave?
Well, maybe they are. Maybe they are, but, do we have to politicize? To me, it sounds so political, okay? It sounds so political that, like all this non-binary crap that people are throwing around. They're not men, they're not women, they tick to a different binary time code. Okay? The people who sit there and say, just because I'm born with part A and I don't recognize it because that's not who I am. You're still born that way. There's men, there's women. Sure, you can change. I have friends who have changed, very good friends who have made the switch. And that's fine and dandy. But if you still got the plumbing for it, that's what you are. That's how we define you. I can't open up the book or the chest and say, hey, what's inside there? What do you define yourself as? Like there's a guy in California who spent like $130,000 on plastic surgery to make himself an alien. Can't tell if he is a she or she is a he. Just wants to be known as an alien.
I don't know what to say to that, Dave.
Yeah.
Are you saying that a Sasquatch is a Sasquatch is a Sasquatch? Why call it anything else?
No,
what
I'm saying here is, let's not politicize the creature.
Ah, okay, I get it now.
Okay? Yeah. Let's not politicize the creature. I'm not shooting down their research. But what, should they have a vote in general elections now? Because they're people? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the political correctness is getting out of hand there a little bit. I see what you're saying. Yeah, right? Definitely.
That's what I'm saying.
I actually know what not to call them, though. So, you taught me that.
I hate that Squatch crap.
I was just saying, I didn't know it was
I know.
a stab or anything.
It is a stab to a lot of people.
I wouldn't have said it if I'd have known that.
To a lot of true traditional researchers, it's just a slap in the face. Right? So, call it what you will. But I mean, it's getting ridiculous.
Sasquatch.
Yeah. Exactly. Bigfoot. Hairy man of the jungle. Whatever you want to call him.
What about the furries people, like Shane says?
Sure. What the hell? But why call them people? They're not people.
This list.
They're not people, man. We don't know what they are.
Do you buy into the fact they could be extraterrestrial people that come from outer space?
Could be. How'd they get here? How did octopuses get here?
That's a good question.
Right? They've already proven that there's no DNA that shows that the octopus has evolved here.
Maybe NASA dropped him out of the ship, too. I don't know.
They're an ugly creature.
It does make you make you wonder.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we talk about that enough in the paranormal field, like the ocean. It's a whole nother world in there. It's the wildest stuff you've ever. We don't really talk about it that much. I guess because we can't go down there. I don't know.
No
Can't
idea.
stay long.
So here's a number 8. If you're a ghost hunter who is just out for the thrill and excitement of the haunt, please keep your Pokemon ghost ways out of someone's house. Have enough respect to not take on clients in someone's private residence or place of business. Go enjoy yourself. You're allowed.
Maybe I don't I don't know what to say to that, man. The Pokemon thing is throwing me off here, Dave.
Okay, you got Pokemon Go, right?
Right. Well, no, but I know what you're saying.
Okay. What do you do if you're playing Pokemon Go? It's a game. You're out for the thrill, right?
Yeah. Right.
So now we got a bunch of ghost hunters out there playing Pokemon Ghost, where they're going to people's residences. Yeah, I got this EVP. I got this shadow. I got these orbs. What are you doing to help your client?
Ah, okay, I get it now.
All you're doing is you're going out for your own personal thrill and excitement. You're not there to really help.
And then you charge them for it. Thanks for the fun ride.
Could be. Could be. Right?
That's why I respect Cooper. I do respect his point of view on all that, really.
Absolutely.
I think he's doing good things.
Cooper's doing amazing things. Amazing things. Can't believe we're missing the Northern Lights show right now.
I'm kind of jealous. Unless I move up there, I'll never have that experience. Ever. On Twitter, I guess.
Amy Martin says, "Don't dress like a dude, bro. What the hell is a dude, bro? Please fill me in, if you don't mind. What is a dude, bro? Someone help me out."
What? Don't dress like a dude, bro?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know
Lost
what that
on
is
that
either. I'm lost on that one, too. Amy Martin, you're causing stuff right now. Hope your show went well tonight, my friend. Amy on the radio. Great radio. Right before Spaced Out Radio. Deep Talk Radio Network. I think that's it. Correct me if I'm wrong. She'll probably kick my ass if I got that wrong. Wouldn't surprise me. But that's okay. All right. Yeah, I'm just sick and tired of these ghost hunters out there, going into people's houses, stirring up things by any means necessary. And, they leave the house, they got their evidence. Sure, they may share their evidence with the client. But now they've stirred things up a little bit more and won't go back when the client says, what did you do? Why did you do that? Why am I having a lot more things happening? That's why we got teams like Forest Moon Paranormal out there. Right?
Yeah, it does seem like they do have compassion,
absolutely,
and sympathy for their clients.
Right. Number 9. Or before we go to that, I'm not saying that people can't go out and ghost hunt for fun. I think it's cool when you get something on tape, or on video, or something through a voice box. I think it's fantastic. I really do. I get giddy when I have it happen. I do. But you don't have to go into people's houses or places of work, and make things worse if you don't know what you're doing. If you don't know how to clear places, if you don't know how to, communicate between the spirit properly, if you're not in there provoking everything. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
One second. On Spreaker. Karen, what you need to do is send it to me on Facebook. We should be Facebook friends, my dear. Find me on Facebook, Dave Scott. You can send me the photos of the UFO that you and Cooper caught. Actually, Cooper already sent them to me on Facebook. Pretty cool. pretty darn cool. Gosh, I love UFOs. But anyways, back to the paranormal. You know, I'm not saying that people shouldn't ghost hunt. It's a thrill, man. It's a thrill. One of the ones that we're going to be doing up here very soon is where we were supposed to hold the Space Out Radio Paracon this coming weekend at the Spruce Hill Spa and Resort. They have a long section of their original Gold Rush Trail on their property. And a lot of people who walk the property, because it is a spa and resort, and there's a lot of cross-country skiers in the winter, people walking their dogs or going for jogs or whatever, they have experienced things on that trail. We're going to investigate it. To me, that's a thrill. But if I'm going into someone's house, I sure as heck am going to know what I'm doing, rather than just going in there to collect evidence, because unfortunately, when you enter someone's house or place of business, it isn't about you and your evidence. It's about what can you do to resolve the situation. I had a friend of mine, Hilda, call me up and say, I need your help over here. My daughter's getting freaked out because there's a lady in her room. We figured out that the lady was looking for her sons. She used to own the house. Was looking for her sons. Her sons would be in their 50s by now. Okay? Told the lady that she was scaring the little girl. She said, oh, sorry. I said, could we bring down the light for you? She said, please. So we asked to bring down the light for her to step into. Poof, gone. Daughter has slept like a baby for the last year and a half. That's helping. Okay? Going in there to get an EVP or rustling around with provocation on the spirit to get them to turn their flashlight off and on is not, I repeat, not helping your client. It's selfish. Maybe I'm off. I mean, paranormal people out there, let me know. Let me know. Am I wrong on that?
No, man, you can't. That sounds like common sense. I just had no idea this kind of stuff was going on.
Oh, it's going on. It's totally going on.
But you're not wrong. No way. There's no way in hell. I mean, I don't even know how those people just keep going without. How do they keep doing what they're doing without getting a bad rep anyways?
I agree. But they do, and they're still in it. Okay, Amy Martin has defined dude bro is like someone who wears Ed Hardy and a dozen crosses showing up to an investigation like it's a fashion show. Gotcha. Thank you, Jeff Gear, for the definition. I think it's mandatory to have a crooked hat as well. I don't understand the whole crooked hat thing. Never have, never will.
I don't wear hats. It messes up my hair.
You got great hair. You have incredible hair.
Never do that to my hair.
I get you. I'm feeling it, though, man. I'm feeling it. Totally.
Good. How long is the Northern Lights supposed? How long do they last before they go away?
I don't know. It all depends what Mother Nature says. I didn't ask them for a time limit.
Well, I'm just curious. I don't know much about it.
Sometimes they last for hours. Sometimes they don't.
Right on. All right. Cool.
All right. Let's get to number 10 or number 9. This one's pretty short. Stay drama-free on social media. That one is pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is about the ghost hunters out there, the psychic mediums. It's an all-out war on social media every single day. Do you see it on your feed as well?
Yeah. It gets real bad. I'm like relationship drama and all kinds of unnecessary stuff that isn't pertinent to what we're trying to view on there. Yeah, definitely.
You know, I mean, calling out other psychics, calling out other mediums, you know, calling out all sorts of stuff. I mean, it just gets a little bit ridiculous. You know, it really does.
I see that with UFO people, some groups
Yes.
too. I mean, I've heard they spend 90% of their time trying to put down everyone else to build themselves up, and that's just a red flag to me too. Like, I'm the only one doing this and doing that. Well, that's great. Well, that doesn't mean everyone else isn't doing it too, or isn't offering something good.
I understand that. But I mean, why bring it to social media? You know?
You shouldn't.
Keep your dirty laundry behind the scenes. The beauty of social media is that every day is supposed to be the best day. Remember when we used to complain about the food pictures? I would give anything for people to show me their meals on Facebook rather than their gripes and complaints about every single individual out there. And I'm sure there's some about me. I'm sure there is. I don't pay attention. I'm going to be like the athletes. I don't read the newspapers.
Sure you don't.
Yeah.
Everybody loves you, Dave. Nobody hates you. Surely not. Why would they?
Oh, there's a couple out there. But that's okay. That's okay. It happens. But keep
narcissism, that's it. That's what
narcissism.
bugs me. Yeah.
Yes. Me too. Let's get to number 10. Have fun and do this research for the right reasons. Those reasons are for you yourself. Make sure you have focus and understanding of what you are trying to accomplish. Because if you don't, then you're not accomplishing anything for anyone, not even yourself.
Yeah, that's another self-explanatory. A lot of this stuff is so logical. I can't see why it's not going down that way.
I don't understand it either. Is it ego?
It's got to be something.
It has to be ego. That's the only thing it can be.
Honestly, though, Dave, I've maybe talked to, because, you know, I've talked mainly occult and esoteric stuff on my show. I've maybe talked to a few ghost hunting groups, paranormal and groups, and I did not know, had no clue that this kind of stuff was going on. And maybe it's because I talked to one, then I talked to Eric, and I kind of got the impression after talking to Eric that all groups were that way, but apparently not, you know.
No, it's absolutely, I like to call it, it's anarchic, man. It really is anarchy. I mean, you got to realize you're dealing with something that there's no rule book. There's no real set guideline of what you're supposed to do and what you're not supposed to do. There's nothing. Right? There's absolutely nothing.
And they got an astral travel team. And it does help that, you know, there's a lot of military in that group. For some reason, I respect that. I don't know why, but it almost makes me happy knowing that.
Well, that's because they do it right.
I wish I had a team down here.
Eric has looked at everything good and bad and ugly about the paranormal, and then he said, okay, how can we make this work for ourselves? What do we have to do in order to make this presentable and respectable? Goddess Michelle at #SpacedOutRadio. You're not an orphan in Twitter land. You know we love you, especially you, because you're a fellow Canadian. You know we love you. There. You're not an orphan anymore. You got recognized. So, I ended the Paracon by saying this. We are all here for the same purpose, and that is to find out what is going on when it comes to the paranormal. We have the ability to learn and share with one another. You will have gifts and knowledge that I certainly don't have, and vice versa. If we work towards a common goal, and that is solving these life mysteries, then maybe, just maybe, we will get closer to learning what the experience is all about. But then again, maybe we're not supposed to know. And it's that unique, unknown curiosity and the stories that go along with it that keeps us pushing for more.
Yeah. Maybe it is the mystery for sure. But I want to know really bad. I want to know all this stuff. I want to figure all this stuff out.
I agree. So do I, man. So do I.
It does seem impossible sometimes. So I got to be honest with you. It does seem daunting when you feel like you're alone in a lot of ways. And I know you out there listening know what I'm talking about. Not just the people in the chat room, but there's people spread out all over that are listening right now that you can't have this journey with anybody else but themselves.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's why we have to come together as a field. There's a lot of lonely people in this field. By the way, Bill Cardwell, who's sitting in his hot tub about 3,200 miles away from me in Ontario, says a clear sky full of stars and the northern lights are a 10 plus. How cool is that? The northern lights stretching like 3,000 miles tonight.
It's got to be a record breaker. I bet you.
I doubt it, but either way, that's pretty darn cool. Pretty darn cool.
You know it's not solar flares. Got to be glow sticks. Green glow sticks.
Green glow sticks dropped by NASA planes. According to the flat earthers, that's what the northern lights are.
So that was a good. You know, when you said you were going to talk about what I hate about the paranormal, I thought it was just going to be honestly, I thought it was going to be like a bunch of whining and complaining, Dave, but that was definitely...
Well, those were my solutions. I did give some examples.
Yeah.
I closed the window. Now I got to bring it back up. Hold on. All right. Let me get into some here. Let's see here.
If you're going to talk about problems, offer a solution. Yeah, you did that.
It's that simple. You can't just go negative on this stuff. You have to offer solutions. Whether people buy into my solutions, I have no idea. That's up to them.
Take a shower. Solution number 1. Brush your teeth.
Exactly.
That's the solution.
Make your bed. I'm trying to find a good one here.
Don't track mud in people's house. I'm scared to invite a paranormal team to my place now after listening to this.
Well, but it's simple. It's do your homework. Okay, I mentioned the woo-woo stuff.
Yep.
All right, I'll read this part. Apparently, woo-woo is the term coined by the so-called scientific, and I put that in brackets, investigators who choose not to believe that there could be something special with Bigfoot. Look, we're in First Nations territory here. They've been talking about the magical powers of Sasquatch for millennia. Their stories never change. In my area of British Columbia, Bigfoot is thought to be either a shapeshifter or interdimensional by many indigenous people. Yet, that's considered woo-woo. First off, you are not conducting anything scientific if you are already eliminating the possibilities because you don't believe them. Your belief or lack thereof should have absolutely no relevance in your investigation. Science is about proving or disproving theory based on experimentation. Once something is disproved, then we can eliminate it from the investigation. In the cryptid world, we have too many people out there refusing to investigate the interdimensional or shape-shifting theories, and then they wonder why we can't find a body or every picture or video is blurry.
Tough to argue that, Dave. You've been at this for a while, hadn't you?
It took me a while to write this. It did. Got into a little bit of disclosure. That's nothing that we haven't talked about on this show before. I'm scrolling on down. You know, I had like 58 I wrote it out on Microsoft Word. Okay, 58 pages. 58 pages. I did mention the paranormal gangsta in my speech.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Dad.
You've heard that story.
Well, I know I said it. Then I thought you were a paranormal gangster.
Well, no, I'll tell you the story. We went, and a few people have heard this, but I put this in my speech, and I'll read it. Hold on. Let me get to the top of it. The ego and attitude that tends to follow the paranormal is not normal. We are all people who are in this field to try and find answers to the strange occurrences that are happening out there. People need to be themselves more. Here's an example of what we're talking about. Earlier this year, we had the pleasure of traveling to Provincetown, Massachusetts to discuss media and the paranormal. Myself, Everett Thiemer, and Eric Markham traveled to the event to help spread our name as well as make some important contacts within the field. For a first-time event, it wasn't bad, but there were a few head-scratchers, as to be expected. The night before, we met this woman who was acting all normal and excited for the Paracon to start. So we go to the party on the Friday night, the next night, and we meet up with this lady who was all normal the day before, and now she's dressed in chains, a hat over top of a gangsta bandana, looking like she was from the hood, ready to deal a gram or two. I heard her stating to someone that this was her investigative attire. She was the paranormal gangsta, and laughingly proud of it. I looked at Everett and Eric and stated, "Want to know why the mainstream doesn't take the paranormal seriously? There's your answer, right there." Have you ever heard the statements, "Image is everything," and "you never get a second chance to make a first impression"? This was it, right here. It was honestly hard not to laugh. Not that we were making fun of her or thinking we were better than she was. That wasn't the case at all. It was the perceived image that she gave off. Gangsta ghost hunter? Really? Is that an image we want to portray for a field that already suffers from credibility issues? Think about it. This is a person who goes into people's residences and businesses looking more like she's living thug life rather than actually connecting with spirits she's there to work with. The key here is, why not act professional and classy? You're dealing with the public. Remember that other valid saying, customer service is everything. Now, some of you may be saying that this is incredibly shallow for us to judge a book by its cover. However, we are already a field that lacks integrity from the mainstream. Would you agree? And if we are going to events or investigations, would it not be more prudent to change the perspective of people by acting and looking professional? Do you dress like a thug or in your lazy clothes and your ball cap on crooked for a job interview? Would you expect to get hired? No. The majority of us would be looking at wearing our nicer clothes to sell ourselves as credible that we can do the job. We should not, should we not translate that attitude into ghost hunting as well?
Yeah. That may be that may be one of the reasons. She was wearing chains?
Yeah, you know, she had about 7 necklaces on, and then she had the biker belt with the biker wallet with the chain holding it. You know what I'm saying?
What?
Oh yeah, it was ridiculous.
Well, you know, there's radio authorities in the paranormal field, and I consider you as one of them. So I'm glad that you're doing this. You're bringing your concerns to the table and trying to change it. But do you think? Let me ask you this: do you think that you're making a difference?
No.
Do you think that you're
not at all
helping?
Not at all. Not at all. All I'm doing is I'm pointing out the obvious of what I see.
Yeah.
And the only fortunate part that I have is I have a platform to do it on.
Yeah, exactly. When do you think the best time, or when do you think the best time in paranormal? If you could say, I wish the paranormal field was like this. I wish it was that way right now.
See, I don't know, because I'm so new at this. I mean, I'm only 3 years in, man.
Yeah.
3-4 years in. If I was doing this for 25 years, ask me 15 years from now. I might be able to give you an answer. You know,
I could tell you from the listener point of view, and I know I've drove this into the ground. I'm sure everybody has, but there was definitely something about the Art Bell era, the early Art Bell era,
Absolutely.
not when he started quitting. You know, but I'm wondering if we'll ever get back there.
I would say that was the golden age. The problem that we have in this field is, and I was talking to, I believe it was Amy about this, and I was talking about it this weekend as well. One of the problems we have in this field is we got the best right out of the gate. Do you know what I'm saying by that?
Yeah, with the best stories, the best host, the best
voice, the best setup, the best music, the best everything. We got it right out of the gate. And he set that platform so high. You know, he set it so high that I don't think it's attainable for anybody else. And
that's so sad.
But there's no, you know what? I think we do a pretty decent job around here. But I sure as hell know that my size 9 feet are not fitting in to the Kingdom of Nye's shoes.
At least you know that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. When he was on, he was the best, man. He was the best. And to some, he still is. I still think, you know, if he ever came back out of retirement, and let's say legitimately committed to doing the show again, he'd whip all of our asses.
Oh, yeah.
He really would. He'd whip all of our asses.
There's no doubt about it.
He was that good.
You know, all that stuff you were talking about, though, what you know, your speech.
Yeah.
If you guys really think about the quality of Art Bell's show, the guests he had on, the paranormal teams that he talked to, it's all in that speech. It's all in what you were just saying.
But I don't think, with all of the different mediums and avenues out there, I don't think we're ever going to get to that point again. There's too many opinions, too many shows, too many YouTube channels, too many online broadcasters, Facebook Live, whatever you want to use. There's too many platforms to get back to the singularity of one radio show that dominated the night. That's the problem.
We can make Spaced Out Radio that if you want to.
We are efforting. We got a long ways to go, man. Got a long ways to go, but we got a plan and we're sticking to it because that's what we do. That's what we do. Time is winding down, so I'm going to give you another one here. Burden of proof and skepticism. Where's the proof? Where's the evidence? Where's the body? Why doesn't this ever happen to me? Skeptics always seem to have an answer for everything, don't they? Pardon me, let's say non-believers. You see, the easy definition of skepticism, or pardon me, being skeptical means you're not easily convinced or have doubts or reservations about a topic. The non-believer, well, no matter how much proof you have, you'll never convince them of anything outside of their world and their 5 senses, whereas a skeptic is open to possibility. But when it comes to proof, when it comes down to this proof that they want, what is proof? To be honest, I don't even know how to answer that. I'm stuck. What is proof? What do you need to make you believe in aliens, Sasquatch, ghosts, or an afterlife? The reality is, for most of these subjects, we have more proof than necessary to convict someone to a life sentence of murder. Think of how many cases you have heard where a murder weapon wasn't even found, but eyewitness testimony found the perpetrator convicted to a life behind bars. So proof. What is proof? Aliens landing their flying saucer on the White House lawn? Did you know that there are already 24 countries around the world that have disclosed their UFO files, including Canada, Russia, Germany, France, Sweden? Yet we don't believe disclosures happen. How about Sasquatch? Apparently we need a body. Ghosts? Darwinism and mainstream science, for the most part, don't allow us to believe in life after death, and the religious, for the most part, say ghosts are demons, so they shy away from any type of spiritual disclosure. So what is proof?
Proof? Damn, that's hard to answer.
Well, let me read the second part here. Pardon me. But whether or not we believe it, that's another story. We have become so accustomed to fakery and forgery in the paranormal realm, much thanks to CGI and reality television, that we don't know real evidence from fake anymore. And that's a big-time problem in trying to solve these mysteries. For instance, the Patterson-Gimlin film, I get into that. Right? Are they really going to be sewing a pair of boobs on a Bigfoot? Right?
Very lifelike boobs, too.
Exactly. And I say, look, being skeptical and having a head on your shoulders that thinks and breaks down everything to an understandable level is a good thing. But somewhere down the road, we've become so fickle in trying to debunk everything that we've forgotten collectively what reality is. We don't trust reality anymore, nor do we want to believe it. The boy has cried wolf one too many times.
Yeah. I mean, I honestly, back to the proof thing, you know, I've had this discussion with you, and I feel that you're not going to get the proof you want unless you go out there and seek it yourself. If you don't have that burning curiosity to go out and investigate yourself and try to have your own experiences, you're never going to get that proof, I don't think. I mean, people can show you videos and pictures and stuff all day long, but real proof to me is the experience that you have yourself, or when you say, hey, I verify this photo, and we go on your integrity because we know that you go out and do these things. If that's not good enough, nothing's going to be good enough.
But there always has to be that voice, right? Look, I'm not saying that people shouldn't be skeptical. I'm not saying that whatsoever. Okay? I think skepticism is a good thing. But at some point, we have to start believing. Okay? And that's up to each and everybody individually. You have to start believing. Because we're never going to be able to get where we need to in this field if we don't start opening up and saying, I believe you. Not to everything, but to what is convincing. I've fired up the Bumblefoot, my friend.
Go out and have fun with those northern lights.
Yeah, I do want to remind people that right after this show, I'm going to go check it out outside. If they're still dancing, I'm going to do a Facebook Live on the Northern Lights, and you can all hang out with me while we watch. Tomorrow night on the program, J.R. Watts is here. We're going to talk the Shroud of Turin starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern. Is it the face of Christ on the Shroud? We'll find out in 21 hours from now. Mr. Ron Bumblefoot THAL, little brother, is watching, rocking us in the background. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio. Little brother is watching, brings us home each and every night, as we love to get our horns up for Mr. B. Want to thank Joe Roop. Appreciate you, buddy, coming on in. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I had a blast. Thanks for inviting me.
Not a problem. Give us a little rundown when your show is on, KTLK.
Lighting the Void is my show. It comes on Tuesday and Wednesday nights, 7 p.m. Central. 7 p.m. Central. 7 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Central. Every week.
Appreciate that. And KTLK, thefringe.fm is the website. So you're going to want to check that out as well, my friends, because we broadcast that on there every single night, along with all of our other affiliates. Joe, it's
Fringe.fm.
Yeah, the Fringe.fm. All right. Make sure you go on outside, guys, or go to Facebook, because I am going to be heading on out here momentarily to check things out. So when you see me go Facebook Live, that means the Northern Lights are still dancing pretty, and I want you to be a part of it as well. I want to say thanks to my great team, and, of course, all of you out in the Twitterverse at hashtag Spaced Out Radio. I also want to say thanks to everyone who participated in the chat rooms tonight. Without you guys joining on in, it's not as fun. Without you guys spreading the word, sharing their tweets, sharing our posts, telling everybody else about our show, we wouldn't be growing bigger or better. It's all because of you that we're doing it. Because together, my friends, we own the night. I'll talk to you in 21 hours from now. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. You need to take us home.